Alrighty, so we are live. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
I love death.
Well, at least you're not talking about penises, so
Well,
all the
It's
necrophilia,
a
death
euphemism.
and
It's a
uh,
euphemism. That's
Yeah.
what she named your member.
that's no, no, please.
I'm proud of myself, guys. Under a minute, and I managed to bring up necrophilia in a stream. I'm proud of. That's a new record, I
In
think.
fairness, babe, I set you up for it.
Yes, you did,
Well,
darling.
it's a record. It's a record for my stream. First time necrophilia has ever been mentioned. Well, necro romantic. I've talked about that, but that was a video. So yeah, first time for stream.
Woohoo!
Hey,
Slipknot said
Slipknot
hi.
fan.
Hello.
Yeah. Oh, so I did want to ask really quick, like, for you guys, like, what was your story for Faces of Death? Like, how old were you, and when, and how did you discover it?
I let Jen take this because this is fucking brilliant.
Oh, really?
Okay. Okay, guys. So little Jen, I wasn't so little. I was probably about 10, 11, 12 at the oldest, but probably a little younger. And they had this at my video store, and I discovered it. And like I said, I talked about this in Marty's video of his VHS memories. And I made friends with a guy, and he was like an older guy, and it wasn't a pedophilia thing or anything like that, but he saw a kindred spirit, and he would direct me into movies. And he showed me this Faces of Death, and I like saw the cover, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. And it's a Mondo film, guys. And the first time I watched it, it was new to me. Like it had been really old back in the 90s, guys. But for me, it was completely fresh. And dumb little Jen did it. It didn't occur to me till many years later, like, how could they film an electrocution and stuff? And it finally dawned on me when I was about 15 or 16 that, oh, some of this might have been faked. But when I was a little kid, I was like, totally believed, oh, this is totally what happened. They let, film bodies and stuff. It's an interesting marketing thing. I feel that the Blair Witch took some pages from Faces of Death because they do market it as this is all real. And 60% of it is, but they're clever with how they market it. It's all about the marketing, guys.
Yeah.
But I absolutely loved it. And my favorite scene is definitely, I never knew a head wound had so much blood until I saw the one scene where the guy goes, boom, and all of his blood. And I'm like, little Jen was like, oh my God, this is awesome. I was like so edgelord, and I was here for it. I was like,
yeah, it's like a cantaloupe exploding. It's crazy.
yeah. And I asked my mom, who's a nurse, I go, and she's like, yes, Jen, the human head really does have that much blood. That was the biggest fact I took. See, I learned more from these movies than I ever did in school. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know my head had that much blood, because it was just a faucet pouring out of him. And then I was like, it's also cool he killed himself on live TV.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But they definitely were a big part of my extreme horror journey. And again, I think it's all little kids edgelords rites of passage, because it is a little edgelordy. But I'm not gonna lie, guys, when I first saw this, I felt like such a badass. I was like, oh, fuck Friday the 13th, this is where it's at, guys.
Yeah.
What about you, darling?
I came by this. I couldn't watch all of it. Full disclosure, Cara. My girlfriend has bigger and stronger fucking constitution than me and bigger balls than me. I think it might have been Bravo, not the American Bravo. There was another Bravo that was on, and they had like an extreme season, and they showed that. And I was grand with a lot of the stuff, but then there was scenes with animals.
Yeah.
And no, I don't care. I'm a bit of a hypocrite. I'm not a fan of like as I said, I help my folks on the farm, and sometimes there is an aspect of farming that might seem a bit cruel, but I'd never like to see an animal slaughtered unjustly or for entertainment or anyone's entertainment. So and yeah, that kind of put me off. Although I will defend it. I will defend the fact when people turn around and go, oh, well, this is just Mondo trash. Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now is real art. Well, yeah, they killed a steer in that fucking movie. So, why? Because this is the dude who directed The Godfathers. It's okay for him to kill an animal in his movie, but not these guys. I don't like that kind of hypocrisy with that. I know a lot of it is fake, but so I read somewhere. Now I could be dead wrong. That some of it was footage from Nicaraguan death squads and stuff, right?
Yes, it was, because we do have an interview with a guy that just purely did it. And see, I like how, again, if you're young, this is a great one on a journey, because they present it as this very philosophical movie, asking hard questions about life and death. And they actually talk to an assassin who just does it purely for money, and what is right, what is wrong with death. And the electrocution scene was about the death penalty and stuff. The Slipknot fan has a question, Marty. I'll let you take it, or Cara, whoever. This isn't my stream. I'm sorry.
I always attribute the term to kind of grindhouse or stuff that is made purely for kind of shock value. I don't know. Maybe
No, you're right.
I'm misusing the term.
No, you're absolutely right. It is. It's to titillate. It was a practice done in the ye olden days. It was what Blair Witch did before Blair Witch. It was exploitation to the extreme. It was exploitation.
Like Cannibal Holocaust and stuff, and Cannibal Apocalypse and stuff.
Yes. Oh, we have hello UFO Bigfoot.
Oh, hey. Thanks for dropping by. So yeah, he says howdy.
Barf bags.
Yeah, I was about to say, he says, howdy y'all, I grew up on these movies. One of the best midnight movies I went to was Faces of Death feature with free barf bags. I have a 7-inch record of the Faces of Death intro and music. That's awesome.
Nice.
Oh yeah, it's a video nasty.
Yeah,
Yes.
they did fall into that criteria.
Yeah, very much so. I'm with you though. The animal deaths, even little hardcore Jen, I didn't like the animal deaths. Now I didn't fast forward through them, but I just sat there and I got a kind of a real. That was the only part of the films that ever made me uncomfortable. The guy blowing his head off didn't faze me one bit, except to think of how much blood was coming out of it. But the animal scenes did make my stomach tighten, and I knew it was stock footage, and the practices even back then were outdated. They were showing outdated practices with some of the animal killings, but still, it's interesting on horror fans how we can look at the most brutal and disgusting stuff and be fine, but when it's a little furry critter, most of us are like, oh, I don't like this. It's an interesting dichotomy.
Kill all these bastard and teenagers you want. Don't hurt the fucking dog, please.
Yes. Well, I'm still very much that myself, but when I was younger watching stuff like this, I didn't realize that, they were actually killing animals.
Mm-hmm.
But just really quick, so at least how I came to Faces of Death, I grew up hearing about it because this was going on when my brother was in college. So I had heard the story about the guy with the parachute, and he landed into, what was it, like a lake or a river with alligators?
Yes, and got eaten by alligators.
Yeah, so I had heard about that. So I mean, I was familiar with it. No one ever played anything like that in front of me. But it wasn't until I was going to summer school in high school. I was taking health class for the summer to get ahead on classes. And we had the police department come in, and they were talking to us about like health and safety and stuff like that. And yeah, they showed us photographs that had been taken, like actual stuff. Photographs that had been taken at a scene where someone had gotten into a car wreck, and there was a charred head, a disembodied charred head, and everyone in the class started talking about Faces of Death, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. I haven't thought about that in a long time. So I get out of class for that day, and first time ever, I go and I rent it and I watch it, and I'm like, that was my first impression also, is I didn't realize parts of it were fake.
Mm-hmm.
Or reenacted rather.
Yeah, so that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, so I went into it thinking that, yeah, this is all real. I'm like, wow, this is some crazy stuff. Like, and I still agree though, when it's real, or when you think it's real, it's more shocking versus what you see in the cinema.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I own all of these. The first one's my favorite. I think that's the classic one. It has
Mm-hmm.
all the better stuff in it, in my opinion.
Agree. I agree. One thing I do love though, and I guess it just shows how all innocent we were, and I'm glad I'm not the only one, is that, I mean, if you think about it for 2 seconds, of course, legally you can't show an execution, but it didn't occur to me till much later, hey, you idiot, they're not actually going to do that. And I also
No.
like the fact I did a little research and they used toothpaste. They built just a replica of it. They wanted to use a real electrocution chair, at least to show it, not to actually use it, but to show it in the movie. But they had to construct one, and they actually used toothpaste to make the foaming of the mouth. But
Oh,
to be fair, it looks really good for the
mhm.
time.
No, I mean, I think it still holds up. Like the reenactments, especially the one with the monkey's brain. I love that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too. Marty, did you have any trouble though with any of the other scenes that weren't animals? Like, did you or did you buy that it was real, or were
No,
you smart?
I when I was when I saw, as I said, I was house sitting, and my folks, my fucking aunt and uncle, and my folks had gone out, so I was like basically went to the house, like, what the fuck is this? And I was watching it, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. And I when I initially watched it, I thought this was real, and I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? And then I realized, no way would they allow this to be. And again, Bravo was cable. It wasn't. It obviously wasn't like fucking terrestrial channel. But there's no way any sane fucking channel would put this on if it was actually a snuff movie or a
Yeah.
series of fucking snuff movies. Um, I'm like, I wasn't too shocked because I I didn't go on to. I know Ethel is a big advocate of it, rotten.com and stuff. But
Oh, I loved that.
yeah, Jen, did you ever go on rotten.com back in the day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we all did. I think we all did.
But
Yes.
I remember like, and this is probably very tame, Bud Dwyer fucking biting the fucking licorice on live TV. And
Yeah.
there's another famous there's a like I was I was shocked by that, but I kind of had been desensitized as well because I was a big history buff and I like stuff about the Vietnam War. And there's a famous video and photo accompanying it of an American translator, a Vietnamese American translator, and they've caught a bunch of VC who threatened his family and threatened other soldiers' families who were helping the Americans. And he casually walks along and he just pulls up a fucking snub nose and puts a bullet through the guy's fucking head. It's a
Yeah.
really famous photo. And I just think that I yeah, it fucking shook me when I watched it, but I think I'd been galvanized as well by watching stuff like Bud Dwyer fucking removing the back of his head
Yeah.
and that thing. So it wasn't as shocking as it would have been, but it did kind of knock me for a loop when I watched it initially. Some of the stuff, like, you know, and again, I didn't watch it all. I was like, oh, okay, they're doing shit to animals. I can't. Nah.
I find that so fascinating that we all just have to look away from that.
Yeah.
Willie Crane brings a great comment too.
Oh, let me hop back over there. Yeah,
You want me to read? I can read it for you if you want me to.
Yeah, Faces of Death is nothing these days, but it is for sure. Sorry, but it for sure is shocking in the '80s. A movie that really shocked me is a short movie from what? I can't read that.
1995.
1995, I believe. Okay, Aftermath by Sidera, Nacho Sidera. Did I read that right?
That's how I always pronounced it. Could be wrong, but that's how I always said it too. I'm familiar with Aftermath. Guess what it's about, kids? I'll take a wild guess what Aftermath's about.
Birth.
Nope.
Well, I know you well enough to know that. No, go on, go for it, Pip.
It's a necromantic film, but where Necromantic, the actual Necromantic movie, is kind of more of a love story and is about being tender with the body. Aftermath is basically like the hatred. I mean, it is fucked up. It's a guy in a morgue and he just goes after this really pretty young woman and does all kinds of things to the body, and it is very mean-spirited and vicious. Whereas the other Necromantic film has some artistic sensibilities, this Aftermath is fucking just sick, man. Just really sick.
So,
I've
okay.
never heard of it.
It's good.
Kara,
It's a
it
short
must
film.
be bad if Jen is saying that it's fucking kind of.
Yeah,
Not
but
for me,
if
darling.
it has the Jen seal of approval, I have to check it out.
After he has sex with the corpse, he goes home and he takes a part of her body and grinds it up into the blender and feeds it to his dog. And again, it's not like, think Necromantic is beautiful lovemaking with a corpse. This is like this is like defile. The Aftermath is like almost rape. It's just angry. I'm gonna fucking, you're here and you're a fucking woman and you piss me off, so I'm gonna have my way with you.
It's hate
Yes,
sex.
darling.
Just for the record, it's the romantic one we're watching for your birthday, though, right?
Yeah,
No.
but I'm hoping Aftermath is one we'll eventually. It's a lot shorter.
I'll have to look it up. I've never heard of it, but yeah, it sounds like something I'd watch.
It's
Oh,
good. It's
and-
from Mexico, and and what makes it creepy is there's hardly any you hear a lot of grunting, but there's very little there's very little dialogue in the actual movie. A little bit, but not very
It
much.
would be brilliant if they put subtitles up for the grunting. Like,
Oh, like dubbing it like they did with the second Necromantic.
Jesus
Guy
Guy
Christ!
taps the back of his finger to simulate foreskin.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever come across the guinea pig movies from Japan?
I was just remembering those. I was thinking Devil's Experiment.
Yeah, there's, I don't know which one. A friend of mine watched at his house, and like we didn't talk to him for a week. He's like, dude, you going to be on a register? And basically, this mad scientist finds a mermaid in the sewer.
The mermaid.
Yeah, it's like, what in the name of fuck?
I haven't seen Mermaid in a Manhole.
It's a comedy. Wouldn't you say it's kind of a comedy?
Oh yeah, it's a chocolate fucking minute, babe.
The one I didn't like, and I'm probably going to misquote it, is the Android of Nostradam.
Never seen. What's that one about, Kara?
Yeah.
I saw it back in college, and I never saw it again. I thought it was horrible. Like, just the story is bland. I really can't tell you by memory what it is without Googling and reading the synopsis.
I get you. I think I might know which one, but it's been a while. But it seems like Mermaid and a Man. And then now I'm just, I guess we're turning this stream into just some sleazy exploitation stuff, because another filmmaker who just has come to mind, and he's very controversial, and it's come out that he's done a lot of really fucked up things. Has anyone seen any of the Lucifer Valentine films?
I haven't heard of those.
Oh, really? Okay, he's a really scummy dude, and he's made some movies, and most people don't care for his movies. And there's a reason why. He deals mostly with rape and exploitative stuff.
Oh,
and
okay.
he might have been a groomer in real life, and Lucifer Valentine, kind of like Charles Manson, the best and worst, same kind of thing, or Marilyn Manson how Marilyn Manson did his name. He kind of did the same thing, Lucifer Valentine. Get it? And it's just a scummy thing. His movies they're not good, but there's something interesting about them. I would recommend them.
It half reminds me, like, if you've seen 8mm, which touches on snuff, they have kind of like an underground, I guess, like a sect where they have like a known guy who films the snuff. So that's kind of who Valentine is reminding me of.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's not real snuff, but it's as close as you can get, and he would want you to think it. It's and then he also did one of just somebody of a group of people who he followed who was going through drug and stuff, and somebody actually died because of it. He didn't step in or do anything about it.
Wow.
He just filmed it, pointed his camera and filmed it. That's probably his most famous one.
That guy, he sounds like a piece of shit.
Well, you
Yeah.
and I should do a deep dive. I think it would be actually all three of us, if we should watch the films. I think it'd be an interesting discussion to talk
I
about his filmography.
I'd be up for it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think everyone would enjoy. Well, Marty probably wouldn't, but you know.
yeah,
I
but his reaction would be so fun to watch. Ew, ew, ew.
I look. I don't know. Maybe age has just fucking softened me because I used to be able to watch mental shit back in the day. Uh, but I don't know. I think as well, you need to be in the right frame of mind when you're
Mhm.
watching stuff like that. It's not like yay, let's watch fucking Mermaid in the Manhole. Not again, Craig. We're not calling over. We're not calling over. You said we could just play FIFA and eat some pizza, man. No.
But that's an interesting point too you're making, because frame of mind, because and I know I'm probably an exception, but I'd love to hear you and Kara's thing with this, because I know when I'm super depressed, it's always the really fucked up and extreme cinema I usually turn to for comfort.
Hmm.
I do get that. Like with me, I sometimes I remember when I was at a very low point, I used to watch nothing but Evil Dead 2 because like my life shit, but this day this guy's day is
Yes,
way shittier. So
Yeah, you
that's
do
that's
find comfort.
that's the way I would see it. I mean, there's a YouTuber. I'm not going to drop any names, but there's a YouTuber that I like to watch. He's kind of a lol cow, and I stopped by his channel. Same reason. It's like whenever I'm not feeling so great, it's kind of like I'll stop by and I'm like, this guy has it way worse, and he's still trucking along. If he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, exactly. At least it's not so bad as these people. I know one of my weird comfort movies is the Poughkeepsie tapes.
I
I
still haven't seen that.
It's a great
Cara, you
movie.
have to watch it. It's awesome. It's a movie you watch once, but it's oh my god, that fucking the reverse head cesarean. Jesus fucking Christ.
Mm. And like it even unnerved me, guys. And it's the scene where they don't know they're being watched. That's the thing that just creeped me the fuck out. You know, before anything actually happens, where he's in the house just watching him
Mm.
for a while. I don't know why that just fucking creeped me the fuck out.
Like I love the bit with the FBI profiler. He's talking to his students and he's like, look, by the end of this fucking course, 80% of you will have left. And I do not hold it against you because the things we're about to see can destroy a person if it doesn't have. And like it cuts like him showing a crime scene video to his students, and just this woman just breaks down.
Fallen.
I think, yeah, it's really fucking good.
It is. There's rumors that there's a sequel in the works, but that's all it's ever been so far is rumors. But I'd love to see a sequel to it.
It's definitely a movie you just watch once though. I don't think I could go back, and I maybe once a year or something. I couldn't go back to it. I'm like, I'll stick on the Poughkeepsie tapes again. Like I was saying, it's not, you know.
I'd love to hear Carr's thoughts on it, because I think you would really dig it. Like I said, not many films unnerve me, but that was a movie. The first time I watched that, I watched it super late, and Sparky was gone, and I was alone in the house except for my younger son. And after I watched it, I went to get a drink, and then it occurred to me, I'm like, did I lock the fucking door? And I think I need a gun. And I thought, it's this fucking movie.
I was going to ask now that you mentioned that because I say it counts. Not everyone agrees, but Irreversible. To me, that's extreme horror also, and that's the only film
Yeah,
that's ever gotten to me. Like that one
Oh
rape
God.
scene in the subway. It goes on forever and ever, and then the guy kicks her in the head and does all this other stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I kid you not, for weeks, I could hear her screaming, like just randomly. I was going about my day to day stuff. I'd be at work and I could just hear it in my head. And I'm like, go away.
It is probably the most mean spirit, and I very am familiar in the rape and rape revenge genre, and that is, and I know this is kind of a redundant thing to say. Of course, it's if it's a rape movie, it's a very mean spirited movie just by its
Yes.
nature.
Some
But
are more vicious.
Yes, I think Irreversible has to be one of the most mean-spirited and stuff. And it's a very interesting movie because it divides people, because some people can see the value in it and other people have said about it like what they said about I Spit on Your Grave. This is just mean-spirited to be mean-spirited. There's not much of a point to it. The
Well,
director, Marty, can anyone help me with the name of the director? Because I like some of his other films. I Stand
I have to
Alone is.
Google it.
Mhm.
I'll just double check.
But
He's a French director.
I think the scene why it's so intense, it has to live up to the title, like irreversible. Like, you know,
Mhm.
they've crossed the line. There's no coming back from that. Not just that. They've pushed they've pushed the feminine character over the line. Oh, Gaspar Noé.
Yeah,
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I love his films, but that is the most mean-spirited one. And I still don't know how I feel about that. That is the only movie that I cannot tell you because I have so many differing thoughts in my own head and I cannot keep it up. Like it's a movie that and it's also I love it, and it's not the first movie to do it, but I love how we go backwards, starting the story from backwards. You know, we're telling the
Yes,
story, and somehow that's more horrific.
it is. Yeah, because you see what happened.
Mhm.
it's. I think it's as well to make you go, why? Wait, what the fuck? These two bastards are horrible. They just caved in some random dude's head in a nightclub, and then as the movie progresses backwards, you're like,
You see why.
yeah.
Yeah, it really subverts the audience expectations, and it's one that, like, you think a rape revenge film is bad enough, but things just keep getting fucking worse and
Yes.
worse.
See, I love it. It's a very good story. I think it's very well done. It lives up to its title on multiple standpoints. I mean, aside from there's no going back from what they've done, they've pushed the woman over the edge too. She's never going to be back how she was. She's never going to be whole ever again.
No, and
And
that
then,
is
of
and
course,
that's it. That's what happens when that happens to you. You're never the same. You're never that person is essentially dead before it happens. That person you were is essentially dead.
yeah. And I mean, I wouldn't say I'm particularly sensitive to it. I mean, and this is just going like a step personal here, but I mean, it's something I have experienced before. I don't find anything like cathartic in viewing this type of stuff, but I mean, it's definitely you can understand it because if you've gone through the mental aspect of it, aside from the flashbacks, the body flashbacks, which are horrible.
Mhm.
um, I've never seen a movie like really paint the picture wholly, like what it's like for the victim. It always focuses on the revenge part of it.
Yeah, I find it now. See, I have been through it, and I do find a lot of catharticism in the rape revenge films. I do. I get it like that because for a long time I couldn't tell anybody. So like the movies were the only kind of my only therapy I had, and so like
Mhm.
seeing a character get revenge on it was very therapeutic for me. But I can totally understand other. Victims who like can't see it, can't look at it. It just kind of like everything else. It's very personal. Excuse me 1 minute, guys. I'm sorry.
There's another Australian another Australian kind of rape revenge movie called The Horseman. This
Oh, I
guy,
have that one.
that's a really fucking good one.
Yes.
And in an effort to get revenge, he gets some poor girl who's pregnant embroiled in it. And there is, I suppose, a hopeful ending, but the fucking damage he does, it ends up being thrown onto someone who doesn't deserve it. And it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I think that was put out by Artsploitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No, which
It's
movie? I'm sorry, guys.
The Horseman.
Horseman.
It's an Australian. It's an Australian. I think I showed you the trailer, Jen.
You did. I still, yeah, yeah. That is another one,
He
and
put
another. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no! Just like there's one absolutely horrible piece of shit that he captures, and he puts a bicycle pump in a dude's urethra. Now, usually I'd
Oh,
cross my legs at this scene, but I'm like, no. I watched what you did to that poor fucking girl. You're gonna fucking deserve this, you piece of
oh
shit.
yeah.
So
And a Red to Kill is another. Is probably the best rape revenge film I've ever seen. One of my favorite films in general.
Okay, I'm going to have to ask you for a watch list. You keep naming all this stuff I've never seen.
Red to Kill is a very obscure one. I didn't discover it till just a few years ago, and it was totally by happenstance. It was just on a list, and I'm always looking for this kind of stuff, and I found it, and it just blew me away. It's from the 90s, and it is subtitled, but oh my god, that movie,
Is
and especially there is a scene, and the rape is horrific, but there is a scene because we're dealing with a mentally challenged girl, and even though she's in her late 20s, she's also someone who has the mental capacity of a child, and yet
Oh,
even and it kind of shows us the universalness of no matter what's where we are in our lives, it's universal. And if that's ever happened to you, there is a shower scene where she's washing and she doesn't understand, but she still understands, and she's like dirty and she's just scrubbing her
yes.
skin raw, and it's like the most powerful thing. And like as someone who's had to live through that, I was like, this movie gets it, because I think we all feel that way. And she just is scrubbing, and she doesn't mentally understand, but she still does, and it shows the universal and human aspects of it, and it's no
Yes.
film has ever done it better.
Yes, and that is another thing that no one ever talks about is you feel unclean, you feel gross, and
You
even
feel,
if
and if and you think, oh god, no other man would ever want me because I'm damaged goods. It's a taboo thought,
yes,
but that's common.
it's a normal way of thinking. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And another thing that's never discussed, because people go to very different 180s whenever something like this happens, is someone is either opened up and they're more free to being sexual, or someone becomes more prudish.
Mm-hmm. Repressed, yes.
Yes,
And people, and I always get mad because a lot, not always, but sometimes the people who are a little bit more promiscuous, it's not that they're that, it's just it's a way of coping. It's a
it
way of
is.
coping and stuff. And I always get, especially with men. Marty, you're a guy, how do you feel when it puts you on the hot seat?
I no look, I can't even believe to encompass, can't even begin to encompass an experience like that. I wouldn't. I think it would be abhorrent of me to even give my 2 cents on something, but that I could never even fathom experiencing. I think that there is a culture and part of society that does normalize certain aspects of fucking S assault. I don't want to use the term. I don't want to get
Yeah, SA.
Cara,
Yeah.
yeah, Cara's channel flagged. But there is still this whole fucking, well, look what she was wearing, or she was drinking too much, or she was fucking,
I
look
mean,
at the way she was dancing.
that's a very outdated way of thinking. I mean, everyone has the right to wear whatever they want to wear.
Mm-hmm.
I
It,
don't. I'm not always buttoned up to my, top collar of my shirt or blouse or
but
whatever.
you shouldn't have to worry about the way you dress or the way you're out fucking enjoying yourself, and worry about getting fucking jumped by some fucking piece of shit creep,
Mm-hmm.
it's
But you always carry guilt. Like I know with me, because the person that it happened to with me, it was somebody and they apologized. And that's what really fucked up with my head is afterwards they apologized to me. And
But
I kept thinking, and that just fucked with my head way more. And I'm
that's
like, well, they
insult to
said they're
injury.
sorry. So, it can't be all
It
bad. And
it's not going to undo what happened to me. You stole a part of me.
yeah. Yeah, but they apologized afterward, and and it made me think, well, there can't be that bad a guy. I mean, they said they were sorry, and they said, but it's kind of your fault too. But they threw in that it's kind of your fault too. So it was
No,
one
I
of those
mean
things that fucked
that's
your head.
is this piece of
no,
shit
that's
still
being
alive?
manipulative.
And
They
where
they
can I
weren't
find him?
sincere at all. They weren't sincere at all. They were being manipulative, and they were just trying to twist the knife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They,
Fucking dipshit. If I ever can buy him, I'd split his head open with a fucking cinder block, cunt. Sorry.
but but I think that I think what I think the movies I like movies like Red to Kill and movies that show, because the rape revenge, every experience is different, and we don't see things where it's a certain narrative in usually these movies, and I always appreciate a narrative that's going a little different, that throws out, because like I said, that's not something usually the person that does it to you doesn't apologize. Sometimes it happens, but I hadn't heard of it until it happened to me, and I was like, Huh. And I like it because, again, for some people who can't go to their family, can't go to the cops or whatever, these movies are, I've always been a big proponent of it because I think
Yeah.
these movies are a form of therapy, and it doesn't judge you, and it doesn't say, well, what are you wearing, or what
It
did you
never.
do?
That's the good thing about these, and I agree with you. These films never say the victim was in the wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, they never do. And also, Marty, again, and I'm putting you on the hot seat, but as a guy, do you think any man really will look at a woman who's had that happen to him and just think, oh, I don't want this? Or why does this culture have that perception?
Sorry, I'm still thinking about that fucking prick.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
my
I'm
way
sorry.
of thinking, like, I'm not a man, but my way of thinking is it's just as difficult for the man to be in a relationship with a woman who has been SA, because he has to remember to be sensitive towards certain things, and he can't be, just like a regular everyday sexual being with her, because he might forget such and such might trigger her, like even if it's just putting his arms around her.
I think if, and again, society is growing, and we still deal with the shit I was talking about, with the fucking, oh, she was wearing this, she was dancing this way. But I do like to think that a certain, not all, there needs to be a shitload more work done. But I do think that men are slowly realizing, look, we gotta ask, we gotta double check, and we gotta be sure that this person is okay. I think, ironically, I think the safest kind of subculture or society, when it comes to sex, is anyone in like BDSM, or kind of dom, kind of slave, kind of dynamic, because if the core part of that isn't the kind of fetishization of leather and whips and chains and stuff. That's a big part of it, but the core, I think, is trust, and I think that should
Of
be
course.
at the core of any fucking relationship. And like, if you're with someone and they're not fucking uncomfortable, if they're uncomfortable with what's going on, you stop and you go, hey, look, we don't have to do this. It's common fucking sense, like, it's like, you don't fucking go into someone's house and fucking shit in their kitchen table without asking, like, it's just,
Unless they're into that. There are some people who might be into that.
but
If that's what you're into, that's what you're into. But...
yeah, but make sure the person is okay with you fucking pinching one up on their table first.
I mean,
maybe don't do it on a first date.
No, and thank you for lightening the mood. I mean, it was getting pretty heavy in here.
I had to, Kara. Sorry, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean,
you get fucking
any,
emo Jen on.
If it makes any difference, my dog is not into fetish, but he loves climbing up on my picnic table and pooping on it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's dogs. It's dogs in general. Our first cousins. That's a story that I won't be telling anyone. Anyway, actually, Cara, Jen, have you seen a movie called Baz Moi?
Yes.
I haven't.
So imagine Thelma and Louise with porn stars in French.
It's exploitation. Like, the sex scenes are real.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Essentially, it's two women. One's a prostitute who gets in a dispute with her friend and kills her. The other is a young woman who's attacked by a gang in a particular manner. So they team up and just go around the place like fucking Thelma and Louise, Bonnie and Clyde, robbing, doing drugs and having sex with sexy dudes. And the dudes that do fuck with them, one guy gets a 357 Magnum Colt Python right up the arse, and they fire it off.
It's interesting what turns somebody on. You know what one person's fetish.
You're not bringing the fucking gun into the bedroom, okay? That was just a scene in the movie. I wasn't suggesting a kink, okay?
Well, if you can take a knife into the bedroom, why not a gun? Just make sure they're blanks.
True. Again, it's all about trust, people. But I mean, again, it kind of goes back, and I promise we'll circle a little bit. But like, it's just like with Faces of Death in these scenes like that, just what we love and what we can horrify us. It's interesting what can turn us on and what can repulse us. It's all kind of in the same house, guys.
Jen, I'm thinking of
Um,
Ralphie and Janice. Do you
Yes,
remember?
I was too. I was too. I was like,
you randomly reminded me. I don't know if you've seen this. I think it's a French film. It's called Anatomy of Hell.
No, haven't seen that one. Have you seen it, Jen?
yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't. It's on my to watch list, but I know of its reputation. Is it worth
Yes.
seeing?
I'd say so. I think it's more of a philosophical, like they're everybody's so obsessed with viewing the beauty of the human body and to worship and all this, but what they're actually doing is, they're, of course, because the main character, he's homosexual, not that it has anything to do with it, and the female is heterosexual, but it's from his point of view that he's showing how disgusting the female body is, even going as far as, I forget if it's some type of a garden tool, if it's a rake or if it's or what it is, but she eventually gets the handle up her rear while she's sleeping.
Jesus.
Wow. It sounds a little somewhat in the same wheelhouse as
Antichrist?
Antichrist.
Yeah.
That was I was thinking that too. Yeah, where we cut off, you guys have all seen Antichrist, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's part of a trilogy. I forget what the other two movies part of it are.
Oh, I used to know this because I'm a fan of the director, but
yes, I love
Is it Lars von Trier?
Lars von Trier.
Yes.
I love him.
How is the House that Jack built part of that trilogy, Jen?
No, this was older. The House that Jack built was his most recent one. These are older ones. It's not what the. I used to know this. I used to know this, but I can't tell you right now off the top of my head. I apologize, guys. But I am a fan of the dude, I promise.
Yes, I love his movies. I own a very big chunk of what he's done. I love Nymphomaniac, even though a lot of people like talking trash about it.
Yeah, I do too. I enjoy it. He's definitely a filmmaker. You either really love him or you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, not for me, guys, not for me. Oh, in fact, The House that Jack built is probably his most normal film. Like at least for
and that's saying something.
Yeah.
Well, now that you mentioned Not For Me, have you seen any of the films? I think he's Korean, Kim Ki-duk. He makes he makes very controversial films. Like he'll like one of the first films of his that I reviewed is called Bad Guy, and he'll kind of turn social norms on their heads and force you to think about it in a different light.
That's a good one. This girl is tricked into prostitution. She's basically blackmailed into prostitution. It's really fucking good.
It's very good. And for me, the amazing part is I was disgusted by it. I wanted to turn it off so many times, but I was also compelled to find out how it finished. Like, does she get out of this? What happens to her? I mean, the storytelling is that good. It doesn't matter how disgusted you are. You want to finish watching it.
Yeah. And that's the thing of good filmmaking. It's easy to make someone, make the audience, their stomachs turst, so something disgusting as something with a baby, something with incest or necrophilia. That's easy. But to keep us there because we're actually compelled to see it, even though we don't particularly want to see it, that's where you got your crafting filmmaking.
Oh, and then, of course, have Cheetah is saying both Antichrist and House That Jack Built are both on IFC Films. Antichrist was the first IFC midnight release.
Yes. And how does Antichrist is always an interesting one for me because I feel you need to be a fucking card carrying member of Mensa because I still can't wrap my head around some of I get the concepts, but I don't. Does that make sense, guys?
I mean, to me, the film's more about grief more than anything else. And I mean, that's what the husband's helping her to cope with, but they're also dealing with it in their own separate ways. And they enter this sort of shared psychosis together.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that he stole maybe an aspect of it from Don't Look Now with Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie. Very similar premise. This couple, due to their sexual activity, their child dies, and they go away in a retreat, and mad shit happens. Essentially, two of the same movies.
Yeah, you know, come to think of it, you're right. It's just this one. I've heard so many people, like, I've heard what Cara said. Some people say it's about grief. Some people say it's a very feminist film. Some people say it's a very misogynistic film. It's about nature. I have heard so many. This is a movie where so many people have so many different interpretations. And little dumb Jen here is just wondering, the mother loved her kid. Why did she put the shoes on the wrong feet? That bothers me to this day. I'm like, why
Everybody
did
makes
she do that?
accidents. Hey, everybody is prone to accidents.
Exactly.
I mean, not that I'm trying to like make some horrible pun off of the film. I'm like, geez, Lee Crow, that was a horrible accident there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But so done so beautifully, like you've never seen such a horrific thing happen. I mean, so done so artistically with the black and white and the operatic score. It was like, wow. It's done so pretty, but it's so horrific.
Well,
Kind of
that's.
in Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say that's what I enjoy about his filmmaking is you can take the horrors of life, but you can still view it artistically because, and maybe it's just me being naive, but that whole ideology that in pain there is beauty, especially
Yes.
because I love artwork. Like I love my video work. I make my short experimental films. I love to paint. I do all kinds of other stuff too. But at the root of it, it's always some experience that I've been behind is what inspires that.
I totally understand that. And I think there is like beauty in pain. I mean, sometimes some of our greatest, some of the greatest art comes from a really bad place. People have made movies, books, films, and stuff, and it's come from really horrific circumstances. And yet you get this beautiful meaning about it. Like they say,
Yes,
life is beautiful, right?
it can be, but it's also a total shithole sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes, it can be. What is Ernest Hemingway says? The world is a fine place and worth fighting for. And then in Seven, Morgan Freeman goes, "I agree with the second part." Yeah.
Yeah.
But you look at Van Gogh as well. Van Gogh, that guy suffered from bipolar, which was
Oh yeah.
possibly one of mental condition he was suffering from, and he made some magnificent work. Wasn't appreciated at the time,
Beautiful. Yes.
No.
but like
Yeah.
it's Starry Night, fucking gorgeous,
It
gorgeous
is.
fucking piece.
No, exactly. The Iris, the one single. Yeah, I love that one too.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, and that's the way I view things is like if there's something that bothers you or causes you any kind of grief, why not take that and make something worthwhile out of it? Why just
yeah,
sit there keeping it on a mantle and just continuously worshiping that grief? Put it to use.
yeah. A lot of art and a lot of artists feel the same way that there's sometimes when they're happy is when they're like least productive because their best work usually comes from some sort of trauma. And that's another debate. Like, can artists be happy, or do you have to be a good artist? Do you have to have full of tragedy? It's an interesting concept.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, since Patrick's here, I know there's another movie, and it's also dealing with child's death. And I know Patrick will be happy that I brought this up. I don't know if you've seen it yet, Cara, but this is one you should add to your list. It's called The Coffee Table. It came out this year, and it's a movie about a baby. I don't know how sensitive you are to that, but it's about a baby,
Not
and
really.
we go some places, and it's a very good film. It's a very good film, and it literally shows how just by one little very random decision completely changes the course of people's lives. It's a brilliant
Mm-hmm.
film. Yes,
Yeah.
I see Patrick's like The Coffee Table. I knew you'd
No,
be
I've
happy
never
with
heard
that.
of that. Is that independent?
Yes, it's an independent. It's from I believe it's from Mexico, and the director has a yeah, it's shocking as hell. And literally, it's about a couple buying a coffee table, and all hell breaks loose from just this
Really?
one decision. And we go into a deep dive about people's just the psychic and what we perceive. And one thing I love about this film is we don't know what's in our own heads half the time, let alone to our loved ones. And I love how perception is everything, and how everybody's perception in this movie is very skewed. It also, but again, is brutal as the film is, it does have a smattering of dark humor in it. There's a little girl there's a character in this movie that everybody wants to bang.
Oh,
And
wow.
that has nothing to do with anything, but it's an interesting part. And the ending is very grim. But it's a movie you should throw. I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds worthwhile. Yeah, I mean, especially I love independent films. They always touch on stuff that mainstream doesn't.
Yeah,
They're
independent
not
and
afraid
foreign
to go
films
there.
really do.
Kara, I know it's not horror, but it sticks with you. It fucking stuck with me, and I try and watch it every once in a while. It's a hard watch. Come and see. If you
Yes,
that's have you seen that one, Kara?
No, I haven't heard of that one either.
it's a
Think
war film.
it's 84, Jen. 84 or 83, or maybe I'm dead wrong. Could be
No,
dead
I
wrong.
think it's in the early 80s. I 81. No, you're
Okay.
probably right. It's probably 84. It's
Um,
probably 84.
Basically, this young Polish boy joins the resistance, and like his ideals, like people say that All's Quiet in the Western Front is the greatest anti-war movie around, and it is. It's a fantastic movie, but this fucking puts it to shame.
Hmm.
Um, he's as a result of him joining the partisans, his family is murdered. The girl he befriends is assaulted horribly, and his entire village are herded into a church and burnt alive. It's fucking Jesus Christ. It's a hell of a watch.
It
No,
is.
I haven't heard of that one either, but it sounds really good.
It is. And it's one that even I'm going, Jesus Christ, guys.
Yeah,
And
it's
the title of it is so. I didn't mean to cut you off, Marty, but the title of it is just that. It's like come and you want to see, like it's kind of an anti thing to the romantic. You know, in Hollywood back in the day, they would really romanticize going off to war, and it has its place. Those films have its place, but this is a movie that says you really want to see what war's like, guys. Come on and see.
Yes,
Come on and see, guys.
it came out in 1985.
sounds
Yeah,
like a
85.
feel good
You were right.
movie. Oh,
Well, it makes you appreciate and makes you think. I mean, I do
yeah,
like those movies. I think they really, there are certain movies that you just have to see just to be a good human. And I would put that as one to
Yeah,
see it, if you want to show your kids, some shit.
it's like, yeah, it's all great fun to watch fucking aliens and dinosaurs and monsters. I'm great like that, but I think people get shocked when they're like, wait, he watches Werner Herzog stuff. Yes, I do, and that's
yes,
important as well, to
Oh,
broaden
exactly.
your fucking horizons. It's like
it's great. I forget the one about they were playing Spaniards and it was during the discovery of the Americas.
Cobra Vard. No, wait,
Yes,
no, Aggregate the
oh,
Wrath of God. Sorry, Kara.
the Wrath of God.
Aggregate the
Yes,
Wrath of God, and
I
Cobra
thought that one was
Vard.
really
It's a
good.
Yeah, that's a fucking brilliant movie. I have the Herzog Kinski box set, and that's one of my favorites. I I I'm going to be interested because once we get the second remake of Nosferatu, I don't know which I'm going to compare it to, the original or the Herzog one that came out.
Maybe
I
both.
still I consider Shadow of a Vampire to be a remake in spirit. They're just
Yeah,
retelling it from a different point of view.
I love Shadow of a Vampire. It's one of my
It's great.
favorites. I
I
fucking
like
love
it.
that movie.
I love the fact that William Defoe actually was in that movie. Now he's in this one as well.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. You're right.
Hmm.
Oh, I love. I think that's so funny. Eddie Izzard is great in that movie too. Eddie Izzard is so good in that movie. Man Behind the Sun, guys. Whoa, that one is a depressing one.
Yeah,
Uh, it's still on YouTube, they say. I
Yes, it
haven't seen
is.
that one either.
And don't watch that on a downer day. That's all I'm saying. Don't watch that one if you're having a downer day. Whoa. Even I'm like, God, guys, this one's great.
I feel that way about Pet Cemetery. Like I love that movie, but if I'm having a bad day, don't watch it.
Exactly. One of my favorite movies and books of all time. To talk about death and grief. I think there's no better portrayal of the original Pet Cemetery than that, especially of fathers. I've always said Stephen King has done two great things on grief. If you want to see how a father deals with grief, Pet Cemetery. If you want to see how a mother deals with grief, fucking Cujo.
Oh, I
Mm.
would have said Dolores Claiborne.
Yeah, Dolores Claiborne's another good one, but I think Cujo does too because it's from a mother's perspective, and I like the fact that in at least in the book she's not like she has some faults. She's not a bad mother, but she's not
No,
your
she's not
Doris
perfect.
Day either.
No, the book starts with an affair, so
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, but Pet Cemetery is one of my See, The Fly is back again, darling.
Damn you, Jeff
Brundlefly.
Goldblum, fuck off.
You might as well just nickname him Brundlefly. He's part of the family now.
Basically, I'm gonna murder some of my family then. It does put you through the ringer. That as a parent, I don't think there's a worse, you just sit there and you're like, oh my God, God forbid. God forbid.
Yes.
And you can understand why he does what he does. I mean, the definition of madness is basically, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And Lewis does this again and again, but you totally understand why. And you can even get into his head and go, yeah, this time it might work. I just got to change some aspects and it'll work this time.
This is different. He's fresh.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Died.
She just died a little while ago. And I love how the wild look in the actor's eyes. And I knew the actor's name, but I can't think of him right now. But I love he has this wild cry. I mean, just completely gone over the deep end. And he's like, she just died a little while ago. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, half her face is missing. What's fine about that?
Yeah, I feel sad for the dog. In Cujo, yes, because like and especially, and I love how in the book you get it from the dog's perspective too. And saying that out loud sounds silly, but in the book form, it really works, and it makes it all the more tragic because the dog's fault isn't bad.
No, the dog was a victim. He got bitten by bats.
Yeah. Fucking bats. Get your dog's rabies shots, people. Get your dog's rabies shots.
I don't know if the term is used over there, and this is probably veering off. Apologies, Cara. But it still bugs me today when someone says, "Oh, we had to destroy the dog. The dog had to be destroyed." I don't like that term. It's a living entity. It's not a fucking. It's not a carton of milk or a fucking jalopy,
No, I agree. They're sentient. I mean, I've grown up around animals all my life, and maybe I'm one of those, because in America, at least, I get the impression people view animals as objects. I view them as sentient.
Mm-hmm. I do too. But a lot of people don't. I agree with you on that. But a lot of and then you get these and again, we're going off a little bit on a thing, but I hate these fucking Bible thumpers that'll come up to me and go, well, God put him here for us and food and service.
No,
and shut the fuck up.
You're reading it backwards. Backwards. It's even in Genesis. We are here to protect, not to put everything at our beck and call.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, I'm getting flashbacks to that Bigfoot show again, Jen. Basically, there's this fucking dude. There's this 10 Bigfoot hunters, right? And I don't know, it's terrible. Fucking Ted Nugent does the intro song, and basically they're just interviewing good old boys talking about Bigfoot and their encounters with Bigfoot. And one guy goes, "Yeah, I got my rifle ready in case he comes on my property and takes my boy out." It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna tolerate no Bigfoot or Sasquatch trespassing. Look, I'm dubious about the existence of Bigfoot, but I'm pretty sure if his lineage and race, they probably have more of a right to this fucking land than you do, you fucking yokel.
Well, I'd say they would have to share rights with the natives, but yes. Exactly. They've probably been around here the same amount of time.
Oh my God, the Hendersons, they killed Harry. No.
Jesus God.
How did I get here? I was trying to find a chicken casserole recipe.
We're wondering the same thing. Where are we supposed to be talking about Faces of Death?
I know, we keep wandering further and further away. Maybe we should just circle back for a little bit and then
sorry, Cara, that's me.
No, it was me.
It was all of us. It was all of us. Because the conversation is interesting and I'm going with it because I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interesting points here. And then the topic changes and we just kind of keep going. So we all just kind of forgot to put the anchor down.
It happens, but it's interesting. Like I said, it's fun and it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they're, as far as movies in the, what is it, grotesque, I haven't seen that one. I think that's also part of extreme horror.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun. It's a little they're fun if you have a palate for this kind of thing. And I think that's where Faces of Death, that was definitely something on my horror journey that made me, like, I knew about exploitative movies, but this was like one that really showed me what exploitative movies could do, and it really gave me a taste and a palate for it. And it's not a palate for everybody, but if you kind of, I got that itch early, and I'm like, oh, I like this. I want to see how much further we can push it. And
Yeah.
these movies, and it just makes you, again, like I've said this before, but those movies made you feel like a fucking badass. Like, oh, you're watching Friday the 13th. Have fun, kids. I'm going to go watch an adult movie where they're using real bodies and you're seeing a guy executed, because I'm hardcore like that.
Yeah, I used to feel that same way. Like, I was one of those people, like, I just had to keep pushing my boundaries. Like,
Yeah,
what is
me
the
too.
most extreme thing I can watch, until I ran across Irresistible, and I'm like, I just felt like a dog that had gotten kicked and ran off yelping.
Exactly. But I love when you find those kind of movies too, because like when they make you go, whoa, those are like the gems for me, the ones that make me go, whoa, fuck me, man. You know, those are always the special ones. You have to dig through so much schlock. You get so desensitized. It's really special when you find them, when you're at my age and you find a movie that still can make you go, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was excited when Eli Roth released, what was that cannibal movie he had
Green
made?
Inferno.
Yes, Green Inferno, because I went back and I rewatched Cannibal Holocaust and all this other stuff, and I'm like, this just doesn't do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else is making such a big deal about it. I'm kind of like, you wusses.
Exactly.
One question for you, Jen, because you have a much stronger constitution for this, and as you said, it doesn't daunt you as other people. But has there ever been a movie where you're like, nah, I'm out? Has there ever been a movie that you've had to kind of go on?
I watched it. I watched it, but it was a movie that I was holding myself, and I after I finished watching the film like that, and I watched it super late at night, and I couldn't sleep. And it's gonna sound really dumb, but it's not a particularly brutal movie like compared to some of the movies we've been talking about, but there's a movie called Hounds of Love, and there is a scene in it involving a dog, and it's the sound design. You don't see so much, but you hear it pounding, a guy stomping this poor dog to death, and the dog, excuse me guys, sorry, 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. It was a scam anyway. You hear a dog being literally stomped to death by this very unsavory character, and the dog has played a very big part of this movie. And the other person in this film, this other character, this dog is essentially her child, and it's talking about an abusive relationship among many other things. And she's so traumatized, and she's sitting there, and instead, like, if it was me and it was my damn dog, I would be getting a butcher knife, a chair, whatever to stop, and she's just sitting there and she won't fight. And you hear this dog dying, and you hear the boots go boom, 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 and it's awful. And it goes on for a long time, and it just and I think I was even crying a little bit. And I told a friend of mine who loves the movie as much as I do, and I felt better. I go, I had a hard time watching that, and a friend of mine goes, Jen, I just fast forward through that part, and it was a guy and stuff. And it's not, it's just the sound design was horrid. It's still kind of, I can hear it in my head now.
Yeah, I mean, I hate stuff like that, even if you don't see it. I mean, especially for me, because my pets are my babies, they're my children, and then to actually see someone do that, or even just reference to it, I can't stand it.
Yeah, I couldn't either. But it's a wonderful movie, and it's about it's a real life case about two about a couple that kidnap people and then eventually kill them, and it was a really famous case. But it's a brutal movie. It's one that made me go, oh, and I just didn't know how much longer. And like I said, the scene plays out, and you hear the dog whimpering and the guy going crazy, and you get so angry at this woman because again, she's just sitting there, and you're just and some people would have because she's traumatized too. But if it's your animals or your kids, no matter how fucking traumatized you are, you get something and you kill the son of a bitch, or at least that's how I feel.
That's why you were kind of happy in the woman when the feral woman tore off your one's face because she let her. Yeah.
Because she knew that bitch knew what that son of a bitch was doing to her kids. And I get it. Sometimes men are bigger and stronger or whatever. Then you sit and you think. And if you can't take a life, you go and pay somebody who can. There's no excuse. You either murder the fucker, and if they're too bigger, you find out you get them when they're asleep, you get them by surprise, or you go and find somebody and go, here's money. Can you do this? Just make sure they're not a cop.
No, the cheapest route that I can suggest, especially if there's people in the house who love eating apples, grind up the apple seeds because they contain arsenic. It'll take a long while, but you'll eventually get them out of the way.
I get you. See, I would want it to be very painful. Like I know if it was one of my kids, that's the one thing Dolores Claiborne does wrong in the book. She feels sorry because that he has to suffer. I always disagreed with Stephen King. I'm like, she shouldn't have felt sorry. The son of a bitch was a fucking pedophile with his own daughter. The son of a bitch should deserve every fucking painful and every agonizing moment he can. And then I hope he goes straight to hell.
Yeah, but she was more traditional, so that makes sense why she would have.
It made sense. It did. I get what you're saying, but to me, if it had been one of my kids, I'd make damn sure they were suffering. I wouldn't want it quick.
Yeah.
Then you wonder why I'm single.
Just. I'm.
But I did not single, but not married. I meant married. Sorry, Marty. I meant married.
Oh no, it's all right.
Married. I was going to ask, because for me the most overrated extreme horror is Serbian film. Which one do you think is the most overrated?
Oh, I don't think Serbian film's overrated. I don't think it's as extreme as everybody makes it out to be, but I think it's a really good film. What is a movie that
I would watch it? I mean, I own it, so.
I get what you mean.
I went through the trouble of making sure I got the extended cut, not the one that had been censored.
I get you.
Why bother making a censored version of a movie like that?
That's a good question.
That's bizarre. It's like, it's like say, hey, we'll watch a Tarantino movie with all the swears replaced with damn it or heck it.
That would be so weird. I'd be giggling the entire movie.
There's a few movies that I think are overrated that people always put on their list, and it's not that I think they're bad movies. It's just like Cannibal Holocaust is a movie that I absolutely love, but I mean, there are movies even of that time that go a lot deeper and a lot harder. And it's not movies that I don't necessarily love or enjoy. It's just I'm like, really, guys, this is the most hardcore thing you've ever seen. But then again, it's a matter of opinion and how much of desensitized you are.
I remember everyone fucking losing their shit over when Nightmares of a Damaged Brain got a release.
I remember that one too, and it's fun. It's a fun movie,
but it's not fucking.
No.
They're like, oh my god, it's the most fucked up thing. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I know one, and again, this is more for normies, but I remember even as a kid, I was like, really, guys? Like, and when Interview with a Vampire came out, people were losing, like, normies were losing their shit and saying, oh my God, it's so violent and so fucking disturbing. I remember Oprah did a whole thing on it, and I was like, what the fuck are you people talking about? It's a vampire film.
I thought it was one of the most beautiful vampire films I've seen.
I loved it. I love it too. And you got to see the show, Cara. The show is fucking amazing. And I love the movie.
I've seen the first season, and I love how AMC and Shudder are affiliated, because now you can watch first season on Shudder. It's the second season I'm waiting for it to hit.
Oh, you're going to like the second. The second season is, I don't know how, because I love the first season too, but the second season is even better. I don't know how the fuck they did that, but it's even better.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I went through, the pirate channels to watch the first season, but I did not regret it.
Oh yeah, it's a great movie. But I just never understood how the fly again, Marty. I never understood how people would be losing their shits over fucking Interview with a Vampire. It's a very tame movie, even for normies. I would think it's tame.
Well,
It
even
wasn't
then at the
anything.
time, it was very tame. There was nothing extreme about it.
No,
Yeah.
like there was a bit of titillation with the opera house and stuff, but there was nothing too like I can't even think of
It was
anything
too busy
super
being awesome.
graphically violent.
It was the blood scene, that little trickle of blood, and like Oprah and everyone. I remember it. I'm like, really? And I was a little kid. Well, not a little kid, but I was young at the time. And I was like,
But
what
I
the
mean,
fuck is wrong with you people?
people have said the same thing about Reservoir Dogs, that it's very violent, and it only has the one murder at the beginning, which happens off screen. You don't see it.
Exactly.
And even did it, the movie it pans away when your man the cops getting his ear cut off, and it just
Mm-hmm.
has
Yeah.
Mr. Blonde holding it. I'm like, yeah, I think the 90s was a reactionary time, and directors used that to their advantage. People are like, oh,
Mhm.
you got to go see this, and then you go see it, and it's like, it wasn't that bad, you know.
What's a movie for you, Marty, that had a reputation, and when you saw it, you were like, "Really, guys?"
Well, as I said before, Nightmare of a Damaged Brain. Um,
Any others?
well, I'm trying to fucking think. Actually, story wise and atmosphere wise, I enjoyed parts of it, but and you're gonna roll your fucking eyes like Andy and Alien Romulus. Um, Blair Witch. I remember people were like, "Oh, it's the scariest fucking thing ever," and
Yeah.
it's so fucked up. And then she was like, "Bunch of lads fucking recording trees."
I know, and
It
oh
wasn't
my god,
scary. I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
towards the end, I had to look away a little bit because I was starting to get motion sickness, and maybe that was the only part that I actually had a reaction
Yeah,
to. The film was really boring. It didn't get interesting until the ending, and then, of course, you didn't get to see how it ends because the guy holding the camera died.
Mm-hmm. The marketing again, going back to Faces of Death, it was all about the
yeah.
marketing, and
Yeah.
it was genius marketing. They made it, and they even did I remember the documentaries of, oh, this is a real thing, this witch is real and everything. And this was kind of we had the internet, but it was still pretty new and stuff. And I think that was the last time the America got, or not America, but just everyone got fooled to believing that, this is a real thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie because I had only seen the movies once, and then I put them on shelves for years before I rewatched them. So I watched the featurettes on my DVDs, which I regretted doing because then it said, "Well, this is how we did this. This is how we did that." I'm like, you just took the magic out of it.
I remember when that movie came out, and I didn't get a chance to see it in the theater. And like everybody, because at my school, I was known as the weird horror chick, and everyone's like, "Oh, Jen, this is a movie that even you were going to be horrified by." And I remember in a math class, a girl I knew was talking about it, and she's like, "I had to sleep with the lights on for a week after seeing this movie. It just was I was so scared by it." Kept hearing hype, and then finally it came out on VHS, and my mom and I, we decided, we're not even going to rent it. Everyone seems to be loving this movie. We'll buy it because everybody loves it. How could it be a bad film? And both my mother and I, and she doesn't have near the high constitution I do. And when it was over, we were like, that's what everybody was talking about. We were so fucking pissed, and we should have just fucking rented it at our local theater or our local rental place. But I was like, it's everyone loves it. It has to be good. We're not going to be throwing away 20 something
Jen,
bucks on this shit.
it was the return of those preppy bitches who were going on about the craft. It's all that shit all
Same
over again.
ones. It
Yeah.
was the same ones. No
Yeah,
kidding, Marty.
I've learned my lesson. I did that same thing, but it was actually over what was the name of that movie? Something Gasm, Deathgasm.
Yeah.
Everyone was raving about it and saying it was so great, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to buy it because everyone seems to like it, and it's the horror rock genre, which we don't see much of at all these days. And I'm like, I just thought it was crap.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing where you definitely, unless you just know yourself really well, it's always good to check something out, even if everybody. Well, look at Long Legs is a movie. Now, I don't think it's particularly horrifying, but
I haven't
people were.
seen it yet. No spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers, but I'm just going to tell you my thoughts on it. I wasn't near as impressed with it as a lot of people were. There's some things to praise about it, but I thought, oh, this movie's a little overhyped. Actually, it's a lot overhyped. I had issues with it. So, but there's some good stuff in it. It's a mixed bag. When it's good, but it misses really hard in a few places, or at least for me, it did.
Yeah. Suddenly silent.
No, I'm trying to think. Like some people, non-horror fans or non-franchise fans, I think sometimes kind of like, oh my god, fucking like with Romulus, everyone's, oh, that creature in the last part of Romulus, that's even scarier than the alien in the first movie, and I'm like, are you taking the piss, mate? Are you taking the fucking piss?
Yeah. Marty, you love that one.
I remember I remember coming back and Jen asked me, so what you think? And I was like, Slender Man. And she's like, what? Watch the movie. Watch the movie. We won't say anything else because I don't want to spoil it in Cara. But I was like, what the fuck? What? Again, I felt like Marlon Brando and The Godfather. They done massacred my boy.
And I kept thinking, the whole through the movie, I kept thinking, how the fuck does Slenderman have to do with anything with this? And then when it finally revealed itself as to how, that I was like, oh, Marty was right. I get it now.
Oh, it's worse, scarier than the first alien ever. I'm like, the fuck are you smoking?
Truth be told, I like the first Alien, but it's too clinical for me. I like the second one a lot more.
A lot of people do.
I'm the weirdo who likes Tree, and no one talks to me as a result of this.
I like that one. That was the first one I ever saw in theater, and that's also why I did kind of like that whole reveal thing that I was doing back at the time when I was doing the snake personality.
They were cool. Those personas kicked ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get back into it. It's just I need to find time, like, because it's super hot in my room, so I need to get something sorted out first before I can sit and start reviewing again. And I'm like, there's no way I can wear an outfit on top of doing a review.
No, I know. I feel you on that. But they sure were good and stuff. But you probably can figure out something where it can work for you.
Wait, Cara, which was your favorite to do? I probably asked you this already.
Yeah, I mean, I did them both at the same time because they were meant to be two sides of the coin from each other. But I was doing the nun, which her name is Gloriana, and then the snake persona, which was Valdemara. I always give them names.
Ooh. Nice.
I'm trying to think, is there any other fucking weird, fucked up movies that, you know?
It depends on and again, what I find so interesting is that everyone has different limits and different tastes. You aren't as big into the exploitation and to the Mondo and stuff as I am, Marty. You can appreciate it, but it's not your bag.
No, I got into. I remember when I was in college and stuff, I used to collect Empire, and I also used to collect another really good independent movie magazine called Hot Dog, and they had a brilliant section on French extremity. And that's where I came by Irreversible. And that's where I came by Baz Moi. And again, I'm just wondering how the fuck Baz Moi ended up on that list.
Darn it.
There was Martyrs. They're bringing up that. Speaking of French extremity, Martyrs.
I still haven't seen that one, but I do love the Skin I Live In.
Oh yeah, The Skin I Live In. That's an interesting movie as well.
There was another French one about the same time as Baz Moi, and I cannot remember the title, but the boy becomes obsessed with his mother, and he goes into like this whole weird situation where he's with boys and girls together. They're doing the whole BDSM thing. And then at the very end, this is the thing that stuck with me the most. And for some reason most people got mad over this, which I didn't see why. But the guy, the mom dies at the end, so he waits when everybody walks out of the room. She's, I mean, obviously it's awake. He waits until everyone walks out of the room, and then he starts jerking off to her. And I'm like, a lot of people get mad at that, and I'm like, why? That's nothing compared to everything else that's in the movie. It's innocent compared to that.
I haven't seen this movie, and you don't remember the name at all?
I'd have to go back and dig for it. I know I have it on one of my film lists somewhere.
I'd try and look it up for you, Jen, but I don't want, hey, what's the movie where the guy jerks off to his dead mother at the end?
You could
In my search
Google
history
that.
stuff.
You could probably Google that.
I ain't
It might
Googling
come up.
it.
It's from the early 2000s. I don't know if that helps.
We might have to search that one out. Also, no, I don't think you're too weak for Martyrs is a disturbing film, especially if you're of the religious mindset. That's
I
now
love that
don't stay
fucking
away
ending.
from that fucking remake, but that's another conversation.
I own the original Martyrs. I haven't seen either the original or the remake yet.
Don't go near the fucking remake, Cara.
Oh
don't
god, that
touch
remake
it.
is trash.
Oh, I remember Necromantic was pretty hardcore when it was out. I see. I think that one was also a beautifully shot film.
Yes. I know people give me weird looks too because again, it's if Aftermath is an ugly rape assault kind of movie with the dead body, then Necromantic is like literally making love. I mean, she's reading poetry to the corpse at one part of it. Oh, I don't want to spoil anything for you, darling. That's
Jen,
real.
Weird
Okay.
question.
I didn't know Marty hadn't seen it.
Not yet.
We're watching
Are
it
you
for
guys
her
doing the
birthday. I
sequel
promised her.
also, or just the original?
We'll have to see how Marty's constitution is after the first one. I hope so because they leave some questions, Marty, unanswerable
Jen,
questions.
What would you classify? I would classify the Night Porter in the same kind of category as Straw Dogs. Kind of this, like, extreme. Would you consider Night Porter an extreme movie?
It's an extreme. I wouldn't say, and it is exploitative, but it's not you know what I mean? And it straddles the line. I wouldn't classify it completely as exploitation, though, Marty. The Night Porter is a movie you turned me on to, and god damn, was it a good one. But it is exploitative, but it gets so much right.
Yeah.
If I can just take a quick left here really quick, just keep remembering and forgetting, and then I just want to ask while I remember. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
In future, would you guys be interested in coming back and doing August Underground?
Yes, I'm totally for that.
I'll give it a watch. Is it what is it?
It's a 3-parter. I mean, there's 3 in the whole series.
Okay.
Yeah. It is, and it's they're very and they're very low budget, and they're it's underground stuff, and they're very extreme exploitative movies, rape movies, basically, and it's just and people have very opposing opinions to these films. I'm surprised we haven't hit on that yet, but yeah, that would be a good discussion.
Yeah. Oh, what boxes do you guys need ticked for a great horror movie?
For me, it needs to be fun. And if I'm not one for jump scares, but I do like gore. I do like ridiculous amounts of gore, so long as it's not an animal. And I give a shit about the characters.
Yeah,
you definitely have to have characters that are important to you. I love all horror, so it depends on what I'm in the mood for. Now, for me, it's definitely, I love movies that make me disturbed or make me go Jesus Christ or wow, or hits me, like makes my stomach literally drop and I have a hard time stop thinking about certain scenes. Those are the best horror movies. But I also, believe it or not, guys, I can go into the more lighthearted, funner stuff or the creature features. There was a movie you didn't care for it too much last year, Marty, and we're getting into the spooky season, but Cobweb was a lot of fun. It was a very much throwback to
I wanted to like that one.
My issue is I was hoping we'd get some explanation to what it was. Again, I'm a big believer, because I think I'm more into sci-fi than horror. I'm a big believer in form follows function, so I need some kind of origin. I need some kind of explanation for the creature, and I don't think we really got one. But execution wise, it was a gorgeous looking movie. It kicked arse. I just think it kind of didn't really. I just wanted an explanation to what the fuck this was and why it existed.
Mm-hmm. I get you. I just meant it's a fun example of kind of a more of a throwback to a creature feature and a more of a lighthearted thing. Did you do something different to this pumpkin, to the soup? It's great. It's great. I love that line.
Oh gosh.
What the fuck is he gonna do with that hammer? I love that. I love that. That's one of my favorite parts.
Oh, I've only seen it once. That one, and what's the other one with the hand? Talk to Me. I wanted to like that one also.
I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as everyone else did. It only got an honorable mention. I didn't put it in my favorite movies of that year. I liked it and enjoyed it, but I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and that's for me the most reason. That's the main reason why I stick to like retro, is because modern day films, unless they're independent, they just really don't interest me. Like, I'll go into it all excited, like, oh yeah, I and thinking I'm going to like it or wanting to like it, and it's kind of like you just missed something.
It is getting harder. And then I wonder, because we consume so much horror, we've kind of seen a lot. I mean, there's not a lot new under the sun. There's always stuff coming out, but it's always, and I think as you get older, it's harder to appreciate it the way you did when everything was fresh and new. And there's, like you said, the independent scene is always generally where I find most of my favorites. Mm-hmm. But occasionally mainstream does bring out some stuff. Once in a while, Immaculate was a fairly mainstream movie, and I really enjoyed that one.
I actually really enjoyed Fresh.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That one. Yeah, that was a Hulu original, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that one with my mom. That one was a good one. I liked that.
Yeah.
Granted, we're talking about an 80-year-old woman, but even she enjoyed it.
I get you. Michael Myers says movies today have no soul. What do you guys say to that?
They're too polished. I'm like, you over polish a turd, you lose its original color.
Good way. What about you, Marty?
They're if you make a movie too slick, you kind of, like what Cara was saying, the artisan is lost, and you've just made yourself a product. It's not a piece of art. It's a product.
Yeah.
And I do get movies are there to make money, but that what draws people in is a unique or creative idea. If you kind of just fucking slick it and modernify it too much, it loses its luster,
Yeah,
I agree. It just depends, but again, like I say in I do one thing I do say is that no matter what year or wherever you are in horror, whether it's a dry or any genre for that matter, if you look hard enough, you can find gems in every year. There's always some movies, whether they're independent or mainstream, you can find some gems. You just have to look, or that's how I feel anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's also why a lot of reasons I deliberately watch like bad low budget films. I'm like, I know they're going to be bad, but some of them are actually good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you find gems occasionally, and that's always I know with me, it's a rush when you find a movie that you weren't expecting to be good, and you're like, oh, and you just want to tell everybody, oh, guys, you're sleeping on this movie. I always love when an undiscovered movie. There was a movie that came out this year called Stranger in the Woods that nobody talked about, and it was a damn good film. And you hear that generic title, and you think, and then when I watched it, I was like, this movie isn't anything what I thought it was going to be. And I love when you discover those kind of movies. It's one of the things that keeps us coming back, is that thrill of the hunt, and when you find something that's worth talking about.
I will admit, though, one thing I do like is streaming seems to be giving movies that didn't do well in the cinema a good chance. The Ritual. I loved that movie when it came out, but no one fucking talked about it.
Sparky loved it.
Yeah, and then it ended up on Netflix, and everyone was like, oh my god, this is brilliant, this is a Netflix original. I'm like, no, you fucking idiot, this is in the cinema. What are you doing? No.
Do you think it was better back in our day, guys, when we had video stores, or do you think streaming is a good thing too? Or is it like everything else, they both have their places, or is there one superior than the other?
I don't have anything against streaming. Like I think they're both equally as good. I mean, for me, I know I tend to be very biased because so that's why I stick to stuff I grew up with because to me that was like what would pump me up. And then like you say nowadays it's so rare that it happens. It's kind of like, well, I just rather go and watch older films even if they're unknown older films that I've never heard of. I'd rather watch that.
Mm-hmm.
With me, with streaming, there are so many factors that can fucking backfire with streaming. Personally, you could have an issue with your internet. Who wants to try and watch a movie that's buffering every 10 minutes? Things like YouTube and Disney Plus take down titles on the regular. I am for owning physical media. I do miss the heyday of the video store, hence why I done a fucking documentary on it. But I think there is something to be said for physical media, owning physical media. I miss kind of the video rental store, but I sure shit miss places where you can buy physical media like
Yeah,
HMV and like what's the big chain store that's cutting out physical media? Were you
Best
talking?
Buy.
We were talking. Yeah, that's bullshit. It's like no fucking. I don't know.
And
I
there's
just
something about holding it, like
mm,
especially the VHS, those covers. That's another reason that got me into horror, seeing those fucking covers. And you're like, and a lot of those fucking covers lied to you. We lost our host. Oh no.
Kara done. Kara's like eject.
I'm
These two
done.
won't
I'm
get up.
done.
Um,
Fucking
but
no.
no, the covers were brilliant because the covers were the best. Kind of like this is a piece of shit, but we got to make people rent this. And it's like, ooh, it's a big scary skeleton with a chainsaw and a woman's tits on a necklace. It's like,
Or a
and
big scary skeleton with New Year's pay. That's one that always sticks out to me for some reason. The New Year's one.
again, some of the covers, they're like, oh, this is awesome, and none of that shit would transpire in the movie.
Or even some of the actors that are on the cover, like they're like in the Sleepaway Camp 2. That's not Pamela Springsteen on the cover.
No.
I'm sorry, Car. Probably you're like you needed a break. You had to step away for a second, didn't
I
you?
must escape.
No, I had to plug my phone back in. My phone died, so
Oh,
it's yeah, sorry about that.
oh
you're fine.
no, you're good.
Oh, I don't know if you guys already went over these or not.
No, we haven't.
Oh, okay. So yeah, my friend told me about Stranger in the Woods. Is what I'm talking about?
My friend told me about the movie Stranger in the Woods. Is that what I'm talking about? Yeah, that is what I'm talking about. It's a movie that came out this year, and it's no one talked about it, but it's a really fun movie, and it's not that the generic title. There's a lot to that movie than that generic title would have you believe. It's one that I think, damn, I wish more people saw it. So
Yeah, and then Nanette's Blood Rose Horror Nightmares says, I loved The Ritual.
That's a kick-ass. But that Kara, that's another great folk horror. If you haven't checked it out, it's well
Yeah,
worth watching.
I didn't realize the name of the genre, but yes, I do lean a lot towards folk horror.
it's a good one. I didn't like it as much as Marty and Sparky did, but there's a lot to appreciate. There are good and bad things to both for people like me who can't afford to go to the theaters and have no way to get to a video store. I definitely like that there are streaming service, but if you don't have video stores, you lose jobs for people and you lose the human interaction with the actual person. That is a good thing because, like I said, you can tell so much about people and their movies. When I was a kid in the video store, I used to love to eavesdrop into people's conversations when they were
Yeah.
talking about movies. It was one of my favorite things about the video store was listening to other people talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I miss the video store days. That's where I learned about most of the movies that I know about. And people ask me, well, how do you know about these older films? Or, that was before your time. And I'm like, I saw them in the video store.
Myself and my dad have a very contentious relationship, but the one thing we did bond over every Saturday night from the time I was like 8 to the time I was 16, he'd go down to Pace Video and he'd rent a movie. He'd rent a movie for me. And the ritual was like once I reached about 12, 13, like, can I rent this? Dad's like, hey, hey, Mike, is there tits or sex in this? No, yeah, you can rent it.
Oh,
Just
I was still allowed to rent the R-rated stuff.
Me too.
But no, it was just funny, Karen, because this was a packed video store, and I was like, "Is there tits or sex?"
Oh, okay.
Were you embarrassed, Marty, or did you just?
I didn't care. I didn't care. I got to see some shitty alien knockoff. I didn't care.
Well, your dad loves anything with Brian Dennehy, right? That's
yes. I love the fact I was trying to explain to him, Dad, First Blood isn't a true story. It is. Brian Dennehy's in it. Because Dad used to watch all those, fucking crime based on a true story kind of crime things. And Brian Dennehy was like in 80%
go-to
of those
guy.
fucking things. And we were watching it, and he was sitting down and he was watching Silverado, and he's like, Jesus, wasn't amazing how the West was this fucking crazy. And I'm like, God, it's Silverado, for fuck's sake.
The funniest thing to me is that means he also has Gorky Park into that movie thing, and I'm like, wow.
I think the penny dropped when he watched Cocoon. Thanks, yeah, FX was great. That was a great movie.
He was just a great actor. He kind of could play the everyman, but he played it so well. That seemed to be kind of the thing. He would always play kind of the hard and tough guy. Played a lot of cops too.
But I just love. But this is a true story, and like terrorists have hijacked the plane with a nuclear bomb. Dad, no, it's not. It's not. It could must have been Brian Denny's, and I'm like, no.
I love that story. You've told it to me, but Cocoon is 100% on fact.
Don't say that to my dad, Michael. He'll take it to heart.
I mean, it did give us the great line, having an erection so hard the cat could scratch at it. I mean, that's a great line.
Was that Wilford? I've got diabetes Brimley. The diabetes Brimley that said that one, yeah?
I believe so, yes.
Diabetes. Fucking kill you. I love that. Wilford Brimley was the best. Damn diabetes.
The guy in my local video store let me rent all the horrors and didn't give a fuck. Yeah, I had a guy who worked there, and he kind of showed me some stuff and like would gear me toward. He definitely knew that I liked horror, but he would occasionally gear me to other movies, and I was a better person for it. I think that's something you can't do with streaming. You kind of do lose the human interaction of it.
Oh, sorry, Kara.
Oh no, I was agreeing with Jen. I mean, I think the closest we have to any sort of interaction would be like when you go to when you're looking at the reviews for a movie to stream, and people tell you, well, I thought this, I thought that, but if they're mixed opinions, at that point it's like, all of you just shut up. I have to find out for myself.
Yeah. And I guess live streaming the new, like, listening to people in the video store now, like what we're doing kind of? Is this kind of as close as we're going to get? And does it hold a candle?
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards. I think this is it.
The other thing I think with the video store was a lot of people would be fairly flexible, so long as they're like, okay, I know this kid and I know their parents won't come in and shoe me a fucking new one, so yeah, rent what you like. And that was kind of the thing. They like, after a while I'd come in and I'd talk to Mike or whoever, and he's like, yeah, rent what you want, just so they're covering their own arse, like, you know.
Yeah, like my local video store, they would usually have like horror movies playing and all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then all it took was some jerk to make a complaint about it, and they just couldn't play them anymore.
Yeah, people suck.
I used to. There was two video stores me and my dad used to go to. One was Pace Video, and I knew all the staff there. They were all lovely. And then there was another really cool one that had loads of cardboard standees and stuff. But I loved going there because they had an NES and a cabinet with Paperboy. And while I'd look for a movie quickly and I'd be like, you're going to rent this, and then go over and play fucking Paperboy while Dad was looking for fucking some other Burt Lancaster horse shit. Like,
Yeah, I did getting to play the video games too. It's sort of sad that we've lost that. I mean, it's something that now the kids today. God, we sound old, or I sound old. God, these goddamn whippersnappers won't know what it's like.
there's
Oh
youngins.
gosh. All we need to do now is look out the front door and yell, "Get off my lawn!"
You little bastards.
Pull up your pants, youngin. It's gonna come off you.
There's too no, I don't. I think even at 70, I would never say there's too much penis and tits in these. No, I don't think I'll ever say that.
No, no, you
Yeah,
wouldn't.
I can't see it. But then again, who knows if we're still going to be around at that age? Like, we could probably still be live streaming and saying stuff like we are now.
Probably. It's something to shoot for. It's definitely something to shoot for.
Oh, but we're talking about future us. So live stream is going to be the thing of the past. Young people are going to be doing something else by then.
What are they going to be doing next? What's the next thing, guys?
Uploading their consciousness, maybe like fucking Demolition Man. They have sex through VR headsets or something.
Oh, that sucks. That has to suck. So you're just going to sit there and splooge all over yourself when
Yeah, it's
you
like,
could have just watched the porn and had the same effect.
God damn it, Jimmy! Why is my fucking USB key filled with fucking splooge? Like, the hard drive is all sticky.
I don't care what you kids do it. Your father and I are going to do it the old-fashioned way, the way God intended. We're going to take off our clothes and actually touch each other.
Oh no! Don't forget about COVID. That's unhygienic.
Oh God.
Wasn't it scary actually when you think back and go, my God, the Demolition Man, did a Sylvester Stallone action movie actually accurately predict the
that.
future? Jesus Christ.
Right? I know. Stallone's a good writer, though. He's underrated. I think we only think of him. He's actually pretty good. There's been some stuff. He was in porn too for a hot minute. He did some.
The
porn.
Italian Stallion.
Yeah,
Fucking-
Tony
Could
the
you-
Pony.
Could you really enjoy a porno with Slido? I'm done.
Oh lordy.
I mean, again, we don't kink shame. Good old fluid transfer. Ew.
Oh, I missed it. There it is.
Marty's my fluid transfuser. Fuser. I guess it's kind of each other because I got fluid in me.
Customs got really fucking confused with that last fucking vial you sent over, Jen. I'm just gonna say that now.
One can only imagine.
Well, it's just I wanted to make my own special lube, but I thought right from the factory between my legs.
And it was at that moment Cara realized she'd fucked up. I'm never having these people on again.
Nah.
I mean, the flavor. Yeah, they do have a Zoom meeting in Demolition Man. I forgot about that.
In the future, it'll be ultra reality versus virtual reality.
Oh God. I think I've done enough. I think we just should stop right now. I think we've seen all we need to see. I'm done, guys. I'm done.
I think we should just go back to Faces of Death.
Exactly. And you were saying that you think that the original is the best, correct? There were a lot, and there was a lot of knockoffs to Faces.
Yeah,
of Death.
there was
there
a shitload
were.
of knockoffs, right?
One of the knockoffs that I remember, I only remember the cover of it. I wish I knew the name of it. There's like a guy on the cover. It's some sort of a primitive ritual, and he has like all of these pins sticking out of him.
There was a few like that. There was so many. I still want to know if Rawhead Rex is the pinnacle of Irish horror. Marty, I think you should take this one.
Are you fucking high, sir? Are you high? No, watch Hole in the Ground or watch You Are Not My
Wakewood.
Mother or Wakewood. Yeah,
I know, but that's another stream. We're gonna get if we get started.
we'll do that for Paddy's. We'll do that for
yeah.
Paddy's Day.
Oh, you reminded me though, because Marty is always saying that myself, you, and Sasha, we should all get together and do a nun stream.
That would be cool
Yes.
because I know, Cara, you're big into that genre, and so is Lady Sasha, and you dig it as well, and it would be cool to just fucking.
We'll have to get Lady Sasha, and we'll have to figure out a time, and we definitely will have to talk about the porn aspect of it too. You know, because
Yeah.
there's a lot. It kind of overlaps with the two. But yeah, that
Well,
definitely be something we can figure out.
I was thinking Portuguese nun. I mean, I think that's one of the better known exploitation ones, unless I'm wrong.
Yes. There is.
There's a bunch of Japanese ones as well that don't fucking.
How would you know about those, darling?
Oh.
Because again, I used to follow Hot Dog Magazine and The Dark Side Extreme Magazine. So yeah. And I might have watched one or two over the mate's house.
You've got Marty flashing his credentials.
Ooh. Well, as long as I love Marty flashing anything, really.
This is why I can't take you nice places. It's why we got kicked out of that restaurant, Jen.
I mean, you just left it open too long. If you had just been a little quicker, no one would have even noticed. Yeah, I do have a YouTube channel. It's Jen's Reviews from the Grave, believe it or not. Marty has one too. The Trash Picture Show.
But yours is better.
Everybody's is awesome. Mine's okay.
Oh, you're a lot of fun. I love watching your stuff.
Thank you. Well, it's when I'm with really great people like you guys. That's you guys make me look really good. So it's easy. I just find good people and hide and pretend I know what I'm talking about, which of course I don't.
No, even when you and Marty get together and do the Trash Fire streams, I always love those.
Thank you.
We need to get back to doing them, Bob, but tomorrow we're doing a stream. We're doing a weekend Sunday night stream, and we're going to make a regular kind of occurrence out of that.
Ooh, why did I get all hot and bothered when you said we're making it regular?
Because you're like a horny cat. Do I need?
I just was like, oh, Marty and I are gonna have sex regularly, like on Sunday nights, and let people watch.
At
so I don't
7 o'clock.
I want people to watch. It's too sacred, Marty.
You have to make it super scheduled. That way, you have to find excuses to make it spicy.
Woo, exactly.
Is there any point in Jendo? Is there any point in doing a stream for 3.5 minutes?
No, it would be longer than that, darling. I have costumes.
She would put one of those rings on your member to make you last longer.
No, Jesus, no. Fine, I'll get 15 cans of Red Bull, and if I have a heart attack, it's on you.
I know one. You can. It's real. I'm not making it up. Horny goat weed. It's the natural Viagra.
I've heard of it.
Of course you did. You were the one who told me what Spanish fly was as well, which is really disconcerting.
And this was called out, which I was pretty rough. Just think about baseball.
Oh, there you go. About keeping it regularly. The sub count would go through the roof.
Might. But yeah, getting back to Faces of Death. The topic of our thing. The sequels aren't the sequels are fun, but they did lose something. And I guess the fact that the first one was kind of like, I mean, it wasn't new under the sun, but again, it's all about packaging and marketing, kids, is what we're taking away from this. It's just how you make it slick. Ooh, like Marty makes me sometimes.
Jesus Christ. Jen, Cara, Like Cannibal Holocaust and stuff, was there any legal controversy with the movie when it was released? Was like, did some people actually kind of report it to the feds or the police, or was there
Not
anything
that
like
I
that?
know of. Not that I know of. Now it kind of after it hit like it was a pretty low budget thing and it made a lot of money and I think it surprised people. But it didn't
Yeah.
really. I'm sure there were some people that probably were offended by it. But again, it was marketed as like this philosophical film trying to discuss the intricacies of death and the right and wrongs of death, and is murder for hire any worse than than the death penalty? It tried to cloak itself in this, it wrap itself in this intellectual conversation, and it's a cute trick. You could kind of, if you're a little
Yeah,
older
I
and
mean,
wiser, you can see right through it, but it's cute.
yeah, I mean, they were just trying to justify what they were doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They,
yeah, but there
they, they,
wasn't too much, believe it or not.
they kind of done the same with Cannibal Holocaust. It's like, oh, who's the real monster in society, and are we the cannibals for consuming media and stuff? And it's like, dude,
Stroke your beard, buddy, when you say that. Stroke your
who's
beard.
who's the
I'll
real
stroke you.
cannibal? Who's the real monster in this society? Yes, we get deep and philosophical as a poor woman has a big rock rammed up her fucking hoo-ha. Yeah, that's
So
Woo!
this I hadn't heard, that a teacher had shown faces of death and supposedly traumatized 2 students and successfully
I
sued.
remember here. God, I had forgotten about that. Thank you, Michael Myers. You're right. I forgot about that because I remember thinking, man, I wish my teachers were that cool. Damn.
Oh, there was a teacher a few years back when ABCs of death was a thing. They got in trouble for that.
fuck off. ABC's the dead. Jesus
Yes.
Christ.
I mean, I would be fine with it, but I guess some parents probably wouldn't.
Were these high schoolers or middle schoolers, Cara?
Oh, I think they were high school kids. The ABCs of death one.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
You're asking the wrong person. See, like again, you have to know your kid, and some kids can't handle it. But I'm pretty lax with my younger one, little more rigid. But and none of them watch the shit I watch. But I think it made me an interesting person. I guess there's a debate about that, like how young is too young. I started watching it when I was 4. Yeah, and that's a good point, Michael Myers. Is we do. I mean, that's basically a horror movie if you think about it.
Jen,
It's
do you
home
want to know something?
invasion.
Do you want to know something really funny? When I was in primary school, like it's like, okay, your teacher's sick, let's watch a movie, yay! And like there was a very small video library, but the one thing they constantly put on, Son of the South.
Oh, that movie is so racist.
Mm-hmm. I think even back then they knew there was a little. I mean, it was problematic. I think even back then we all knew.
Someone had a VHS copy of it, or someone recorded it off TV and put it on. And we've all, after what we like, I think we were like 5 or 6 at the time, outside the schoolyard, zippity doo da, zip. Again, so Ireland, the whitest kids on the fucking face of the planet, zippity doo da, zippity day.
Oh gosh. But as horrible as that sounds, that's one of those films that it shouldn't disappear. I mean,
No,
it's
I'm not.
still,
I don't believe in censorship of any fucking kind.
yeah.
Well, you censor me all the time. You even mute me.
Oh,
But that's because you start getting really intimate on streams, and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ!
You said you don't believe in censorship.
right?
No, not when it comes to personal stuff.
I get you. Fair. Innocent times.
Yeah,
The Faces of Death, though, like I think it was a discovery of a lot of like how we started our journey. This was a discovery. This is kind of a badass thing. And I don't think it wrecked any of our heads. I don't think anyone went on a killing spree because they saw Faces of Death. At least none that I know of.
No.
I think it's an easy scapegoat for, like, again, back then it was like, oh, violent movies. Then the 90s, it was video games. Then it was social media. It's like
it's always
people.
something.
Oh, sorry, Kara.
No, I was agreeing with you. It's always something, even music.
Yeah. It's like, no, it's because you're a shitty parent and you don't look after your kids, or you don't make sure your kids aren't being bullied, or fucking that there's some emotional thing. And like, you care more about the AR-15 and the glass cabinet than you do your fucking 16-year-old. Like, it's just, I don't know. And I'm not taking pot shots at America. I think there is other shit that, like, fucking other places in the world that have just the bigger problems, but it's an easy fucking scapegoat for politicians and fucking, luminaries to fucking say, yeah, it's the movies, it's the video games, it's the rap music.
It's the
like,
boobs.
Yeah.
It's the boobs. Why don't they blame the boobs?
They always blame the boobs or the penises to some lesser degree.
Everybody likes the boobies too much to blame the boobs.
I guarantee you, Jen, if some lad saw a fucking naked lady like in a magazine, or got to see a magazine or a film with like a naked lady, he'd be able to shoot off something else that wasn't a rifle, and he wouldn't be as fucking pent up and need to go into the fucking cafeteria with an AK-47. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's a good way of getting, if you're a man, here's a good way of getting even with a bunch of people you don't like, is splooge into the brownie batter and then take brownies to work the next morning.
Nice. In some countries, that's called the biscuit game.
Marty, send me some brownies. Send me some brownies.
Jen, I only have one baking tin, and I don't want to wreck it.
You wouldn't. Your niece and nephew eat out of that sometimes.
Don't fucking, no. Don't.
Oh, Lord.
Don't.
I'm sorry.
Leave the children out of it.
Well, I mean, that's sort of what I want him to do in the pen.
Jesus Christ. You're so lucky this isn't vodka.
Faces of Death is a more proper movie than Traces of Death, death scenes banned in America that came later. Yeah, those were some of the knockoffs that I was trying to think of. And yeah, it is a more of a proper movie. The others weren't even trying to hide or give any allusion to anything grander than what it was. Hey kids, you just want to see some fucked up shit.
Yeah, Traces of Death, I've never seen that.
They're okay, but again, I think if you'd watch the one, you'd kind of be past it unless it was the first thing you discovered. But unless you were like the first thing you discovered, you'd be like, been there, done that, done better.
Is it a shoddy knockoff? Is it like, okay, this stuff is definitely fake, or did it kind of hold up?
Some of it, like I said, they drop any intellectual like grandeur or illusions of grandeur. It's just them. It's just, and some of it is pretty shoddy and stuff. But again, little kids and little edgelord kids, and I was one too, that you probably felt like you were a badass seeing it. Like, this stuff is real, man. It's sweet. Looking back on it, it's kind of sweet to look back on it, to think you were that innocent once. Even me.
Actually, question to both yourself.
I've heard of that one. There's a pretty mild movie called Mikey. It's still banned in the UK, about a killer kid. It is pretty mild, very, very mild.
It's fun. I rented it when I was about 9, and it's fun, but it's very mild. The kid's good in it though. The kid, the kid ain't bad.
He did I think he did a better job than Macaulay Culkin did in The Good Son.
they're very similar films and stuff, and I think the reason why I like The Good Son. I think it's a fun movie, and Elijah Wood doesn't get his credit in it either. But I get what you mean.
Jen,
I enjoyed what Macaulay Culkin did with that movie,
Jen,
though.
did Mikey come out in the early 90s, early to mid
Yes, it
90s?
did.
Yeah,
It
Okay, so
did.
my guess is it might have got pinched because of the Jamie Bulger murder, where two of the young, you know about that, right, Jen?
I might.
I think they were maybe 10 or 11 and they murdered the toddler.
Oh, yes, I do know that. Okay, yeah, yeah.
One of the defense for the kids tried to use fucking Child's Play 2, saying, oh, he watched Child's Play 2 and that's what made him kill the toddler. And you're like, none of that shit. Chucky didn't even fucking kill a kid in that movie. It's like,
You're probably right. You've never seen Mikey?
no.
It's fun. It's nothing too extreme or anything. Like, it is a pretty mild movie, and I get it. The only thing that's shocking is, yeah, it's a kid committing the murders, but and it's fun enough. There's a hammer. There's a little girl that dies in a pool. I mean, it's fun. He wants
there's
to
the
bang his
jacuzzi and the stereo
babysitter.
scene.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun. It's cheesy fun. He's in
You have
love
to
with
send
the
him a
girl.
bootleg.
Yeah, I should, or we could probably find it on somewhere
Probably on
online.
YouTube.
Probably
There's-
is. I want to
Um,
think it might be.
Actually, I meant to ask Cara this and your input as well, Jen. Did Columbine affect how people who viewed horror were viewed by other people? Like, were people who kind of viewed things like Cannibal Holocaust and stuff, were they all branded because those two guys were fucking they the FBI and police and stuff went through their stuff and found out, yeah, these kids are edgelords. Did that have a knock-on effect on how people like alternative kind of teenagers lived
It did.
It did. Yeah, it really did.
I mean, they mostly went after people like the Marilyn Manson is, who, at least because I grew up in a small town, so that's who they went after.
Yeah.
Even people at my school, like people weren't allowed to wear Marilyn Manson shirts because it in their minds it's like you were supporting what Columbine did.
Mine
even
too.
though
Mine too. Yeah. That people are always looking for excuses to hate on, people that are a little different and stuff. And the interesting thing is, it's, metalhead, whether you're a metalhead horror movie lover, if you're a little different, usually they're some of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet.
Oh, yeah.
yes,
And it's,
yes,
it's the ones that are going to church every Sunday that are the ones
they're
that usually
dicks.
want to.
I mean, I go to church every once in a blue moon, but yeah, I mean, everybody wears their best face. You don't see who the real people are.
And there's nothing wrong. I don't mean to, like, if religion helps you and stuff, but it's just usually the ones that are squeaky clean that sometimes you look into their closets or through their internet history and you're like, whoa, dude. And these people that are listening to this, this Satan music or these really fucked up movies usually are the people that'll give you the shirt off their backs or take in a dog or something like that. It's interesting. It's interesting the perceptions people have of certain things and how you can get it totally wrong. And not to say that you're a religious person, you're a bad person. That's not what I'm saying, but you know what I mean.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I've been to horror conventions and everybody is so friendly and super nice. It's like you could become friends with the person next in line with you and you've never even met before.
Mm-hmm. And they'll help you. And I've seen it in this community too. People will help anyone they can with however they can. People come together and stuff. And sometimes people that, other people that are a little bit more different, or people that of the religious sects, they're like, oh, I got mine. You pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or a little judgmental, where we're like, whatever. As long as you're not doing anything too sketch, it's none of our business.
Yeah. I was even reading a book about the Hare Krishnas back in the 60s, and I'm like, they got into all kinds of nasty stuff, pornography, same thing, rape, abuse. I'm like, you wouldn't think so much of that because, it has that face about it that it's a peace religion. Mm-hmm. But these were a bunch of American practicing Krishnas. That's what makes the difference.
That's why I never had any problem with running those fuckers over in the original GTA and getting the achievement Garanga.
Ooh. Marty, that turned me on.
Are you saying in order to get your juices flowing, I have to run over a bunch of Hare Krishnas in a jalopy and go Garanga?
I mean, one of many things you do.
Okay. all right.
Weren't they blaming Beatles songs for the Charles Manson spray?
Yeah, Helter Skelter, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the
Yep.
song.
Yeah, you're right, that was a song.
And Manson almost got into the fucking Beach Boys. I love that.
He did. A lot of people don't know that he was friends with Brian Wilson.
Sorry, I just imagine Charlie Manson. Get around, get around, get around. Fucking Jesus. Oh, fucking Charles Manson. Jesus Christ.
It's all because of Faces of Death, guys. It's all because of Faces of Death and the exploitative movies that came before it. That's what really is wrong
Charles
with this
Manson
country.
watched Faces of Death. He traveled through time, got Faces of Death, and that's why Catherine Tate isn't alive. Or Sharon Tate. Sorry.
Sharon Tate, yeah.
Catherine Tate's an English comedian. Sorry. Aye.
Are you sure that's not vodka?
No.
Oh,
I think we scared off poor Cara again.
Yeah, we lost poor. Well, she's probably like, Jesus Christ, guys, are they ever going to leave my channel?
I think she was like, oh my God, did he just do a Beach Boys song rendition through fucking Charles Manson's voice?
Michael Myers says it'd be epic. Hi, Cora.
Oh, I had to back out. I couldn't hear you guys.
That's
No
okay.
bother. I probably blew your headphones doing the fucking Charles Manson thing. Sorry, Cara.
The only person that wants to be blowing anybody is me.
Jesus Christ.
Not
when we have company.
Time of the day.
This is one of those spray bottles.
Oh, that's mean.
Well, it depends on what you're spraying me with, darling.
I love you, babe. You are like that sexy cat from Fievel Goes West.
Pussy. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know where I left off. The last comment I saw was asking about the connection between the Beatles and Charles Manson.
Helter Skelter.
Yeah, well, they took that. I mean, that wasn't a Manson thing. The Manson people took that.
God damn.
It was written at the Sharon Tate crime scene.
Yep.
Scene.
Yeah, on the walls.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
didn't Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt save her in the... Never mind, that's an alternate universe.
And the one director, I can never remember his damn name. He did a movie about OJ and he did a movie about Sharon Tate, and they're both awful. And he did another one about another famous murder, and they're all
Doesn't the one with fucking Tate star Hilary Duff and
yes.
Sharon Tate's ghost?
Yes.
Sharon Tate's ghost uses it to fucking... Oh my
Marty,
Lord!
tell Cara about the tell him.
There's a movie, and this girl, she's been
Hilary
targeted
Duff, Sharon Tate.
Yeah, she's been targeted by a serial killer, and there's a ghost, and Jesus fucking Christ. I watched it, and then I took 2 Panadol, even though you're not supposed to take headache medication when you don't have a headache, but I just needed to forget.
Marty, if you hated that, then you should watch the dude's fucking... We need to do the OJ one he did where it wasn't OJ who done killed her and Rod. It was somebody else. We got to do that one for Trash Fire. There's literally a scene where he rips off Freddy Krueger. You know how you said Slender Man and how it confused you?
Yeah.
Well, there's a fucking knockoff from A Nightmare on Elm Street and the OJ murders.
Wait, they're saying that a copycat killer who looked like Freddy Krueger took out O.J. Simpson's wife.
Oh, I wish it was that coherent, darling. No, we literally get a scene. You know the bathtub scene,
Yeah.
basically, in Nightmare on Elm Street? Well, that somehow is related, not to the killing part. We just have this random scene in the movie about that with the OJ murders. Oh, and don't worry, kids. OJ didn't do it.
Sure.
He's innocent in this movie.
Even though he wrote a book, I didn't do it, but if I did, this is how I would have done it.
Do it. Yeah. Oh no, he's totally innocent. It was a serial killer that lived next door. Shit you not. We need to do that I can't remember the name of it, but I can find it for you. And oh yeah.
I love some of the tweets that were going up the day he died. It's sad that OJ will never get to see his kid, the killer of his wife, brought to justice. It's like,
Oh God.
you motherfucker.
Yeah, some of those were bad, but you kind of felt like you were going to hell for laughing, but you couldn't help laughing. Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer is a favorite movie of mine, Michael. Because exploitation films get a bad rap that it's just schlock, but there are some really good exploitation films, and I would say Harry Portrait of it. Now the sequel is fucking dog shit. He seemed perfectly innocent in Naked Gun. He's OJ.
Jen, have you seen Man Bites Dog?
Yes,
I haven't.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. It's from the 90s, right? 90s.
Yeah, I think 92.
Yeah. It's a good. You'd like it, Cara. I would definitely add that one to your ever-growing list.
Right. I think you guys are giving me a crash course. You keep mentioning stuff I've never heard of.
She's like, well, these two fuckers, please stop. I don't have time to watch all this movie. What did it do? What did it do with their lives?
No, it's I can watch this stuff, and then it gives me an excuse to invite you guys back.
Anytime you if you really want us to, and you are more than welcome to join us. We're going to be talking about two totally topics that go together: King of the Hill and the new Crow movie tomorrow night.
Oh gosh. I haven't seen the new Crow yet. I've heard that there have already been screenings of it.
Yes, we saw it yesterday. I loved it, and Marty liked it too. Not to my level, and I'm speaking for my boyfriend. God, I'm becoming that girlfriend.
No, it's okay. May I speak now? May I speak? Yeah. No, no, I think I went in with very low expectations, and it was a solid film there. Bill Skarsgård done a really good job as our kind of main protagonist. And
Marty, you forgot about the shower scene.
Oh yeah, Cara. So I was watching it with Jen, right? watching the movie with Jen, and I have my phone in front. Actually, we better not get into the details because we watched it at Hawaii. We watched.
I went to Ireland and just got back.
Yeah. So I was watching the movie, and then Skarsgård in the shower, his arse covered in water, his back covered in water, and
Marty, you're going over it. The water was deliciously caressing every little thing on his body, going down to his beautiful buns shaped by the gods.
And I swear to God, Cara, this is the sound I heard.
It wasn't Bill Skarsgård. It was how well the shot was. The camera didn't even get wet.
For all you know, that was a body double.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure not. It's a good movie, Cara. Like, some people are giving it, and I think depending on if you really love the original Crow, this one might. But what I like about this movie is it does its own thing.
What I would be curious about is if this one actually was more true to the graphic novels, because I know they had to cut some stuff out of the original.
No, it takes aspects that actually that never made it into the. It does its own thing, as Jen says, and it takes certain elements from the comic, but it isn't. If you're going in expecting a direct adaptation of James O'Barr's comic, you're going to be in for a disappointment. One thing I will say is I think a lot of people are going in with the 94 movie as a benchmark. If you're doing
Mhm.
that, that is the wrong way to approach this movie because it is good in its own right. And as Jen pointed out, it has one big, huge fucking kind of advantage over you no over the original. Over the original. It focuses more time on Eric and Shelley's relationship. Whereas
Oh,
Jen
okay.
pointed out there was fleeting flashbacks, we get to see Eric and Shelley fall in love, and it is there's a lot more weight and impact to it.
I think so too. I really enjoyed it, but I'm probably in the minority of it. But Marty enjoyed it, and there's a few other people that I'm hearing they're enjoying it. But the
Eric liked it.
consensus, yeah,
Again,
Eric.
it's Jen. It's not fucking Casablanca now, but it's not. It's not as bad as people are making it out to be. It's
Yeah,
a
because
solid movie.
Casablanca does. I mean, did you see that one? I never wanted to be a drop of water so much in my life. Just
Oh
wee.
gosh.
I mean, the shower scene was cinematically astounding. I can't remember, was Bill Skarsgård even in that shot?
I'm sure the water in that scene was so zen they didn't even notice Bill Skarsgård.
Exactly, Cara. That's what I was trying to tell Marty. I'm here for the story and the cinematic thing. I
And
mean,
you sounded
God,
like a horny creaking door. Ah.
Just believe it. Michael Myers brings up, I've talked about this movie. In fact, I did it for one of my 31 days of Halloween last year. I showed Sparky Confessions of a Serial Killer. It is very much, it has a lot of the same beats as Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, but it's really good. And people never talk about that film. That's a really good one to bring up, Michael Myers. I love that movie as well.
Is that the one with Gary Busey, or am I thinking a different movie?
Different one, different. There's no big name actors in this movie, but it's a
Okay.
really good one.
Michael Rooker and Tom Towles, right, Jen?
Yes, and it's really good. But it does have a skank dry humping a parking meter like the
No,
94
it doesn't.
one.
That is one thing. The new one, Jen and myself and Jen makes a good point about it. The villains are not the best. You don't have Michael Wilcott from or Winscott from the original one, or you don't have the characters like that. That's what it's kind of lacking. You don't have any memorable villains. A lot of them, like as Jen said, Danny Houston is serviceable, but the
Yeah,
rest of them are like fucking John Wick suited
yeah.
goons. Like, that's it.
They're just there. They do something interesting with Danny Houston's character. It just wasn't executed very well. But it's interesting what their concept is. It just wish it would have been executed better.
Yeah, I'd say there's a whole backstory to his character taken out because you and me pieced it together. And I'd be interested to see if there's an
Ooh.
extended cut.
Ooh. Yes, we did piece it together. Just
Oh, for the love of
I'm
Jesus.
sorry, Marty. You did this to me.
Oh, really? And you're getting all this hot and bothered over me, and I'm not like, I'm not Bill Skarsgård. I'm sorry I'm not Bill Skarsgård. I'm sorry I'm not fucking Mr. Washboard.
No, it's not. But
Show
you
up
have
with
the most
the
beautiful
show up with the
eyes.
girdle tied around you and
Marty
Thanks,
doesn't need
Cara.
it.
Thanks.
Marty
The
doesn't
girdle.
need it. Marty can turn me on. I mean, Bill Skarsgård's nice eye candy, but Marty's the whole package.
I gotta get a girdle now. Damn it. Where can I buy one of them, Cara? I don't know.
It's a fun movie, though. If you get a chance to see it in the theater, I would recommend it. But yeah.
Michael Myers says Confession star Robert Burns, the guy who did the set design for Texas Chainsaw 74 as Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the sequel?
No, the sequel's awful. The sequel to Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer is don't watch it, people. It's awful. No, Confessions of a Serial Killer. You're thinking of
I'm thinking of I'm sorry, I got confused.
No.
Sorry.
I thought that's what you were talking about. No, Confessions of a Serial Killer is another movie. I need to show it to you. It's very similar to Henry Portrait, but it's really good, and it's a little more. It's. I would say. Would you say, Michael Myers, if you're still there, it's a little more sleazier than Henry in some ways? Like it's a little more sleazy, or maybe it's cool. I liked the movie a lot. I did a review for it for Halloween, and I really enjoyed it.
trying to think. Is the cover the dude's wearing the kind of Hannibal Lecter mask?
I'm sorry, what, Marty?
The cover for
Oh
uh,
yeah. We talked about it. Yeah, he is. And again, the cover's really cool, and the cover doesn't have anything to do with. No
no.
one's in a Lecter mask, but it was very cool. I'm sorry, I didn't. I wasn't not paying attention. I was just reading Michael Myers. He says the same thing. Avoid Henry II like the plague. Oh, have you ever seen? We might have to do that as a trash fire, although it means we have to watch it. It's bad, Marty. It's so bad. It's bad. Bad. Bad.
Jesus. Okay, then we're watching another Andy Zadaris movie.
I didn't say we had to watch it, darling. I just said we could.
No. We're watching another Andy Zadaris movie if we're watching that.
I would agree with you, Michael Myers. Confessions is a little sleazier. Yeah. But I would agree with, but they're both really fantastic films. But I'm glad you've seen Confessions of a Serial Killer too, because that's one that people do not talk about that much, and it's a damn shame because it's just as good. Or I say it is, different ways, but just as good. Yeah, bad, really bad, Marty. Like, what's the worst thing we've done on Trash Fire?
Let My Puppets Come.
Fuck you.
Redeeming Love.
Redeeming Love, you had fun. You got to wear a sexy cowboy hat in that.
What is the
Night
worst?
Beast. Oh, it was Night Beast, wasn't it?
No. What was? Oh, Karen.
Karen was pretty good. It got totally overshadowed by Henry. Times that by the highest number you can think of. That's how bad it is.
That's pretty bad.
Yes and no. Is Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer based on a real serial killer? He's based in part by Henry Lee Lucas, but things have come out lately that
that guy fucking bullshitted. So
he
fucking much.
might have killed a few people, maybe, but we're not real sure. Basically, a lot of the cops basically just used him to clear a bunch of cases. There's
a really great series on documentary on Netflix called The Confession Killer. I don't know if it's still there, but it was about him. And like a Japanese news crew came over, and the interviewer asked him, "Oh, we have serial killers over in Japan. One is very vicious. Oh, I did that killing." They're like, you killed someone in Osaka. Yeah. How did you get there, Henry? Oh, I drove. And it's like, oh, and you can see the sheriff in the background going, fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, technically it is Henry Lee Lucas, but Henry Lee Lucas might have killed one or two people. It's real murky. Isn't it, Marty?
Lee Lucas it's weird. He's one of these guys that, like, he, as you said, he could have killed some people, but nowhere near the numbers. It's the same with fucking Kieran Patrick Kelly.
The guy from
Kieran Patrick Kelly may have killed either 5 people or 300 people. He was Irish. He's considered one of Ireland's most notorious serial killers. People don't know about him because he was homeless himself, and he mainly killed homeless people. The more kind of upstanding people he killed, he pushed them out in front of fucking subway trains in the London Underground. The only reason he was caught for a petty robbery, and he was in a cell, and he strangled another fucking bum with his socks, and then decided to fucking confess all these crimes. He got really annoyed when someone accused him of stabbing someone. He said, "No, I never stabbed anyone, boss. I fucking just caught him in the bollocks." And it's like, Jesus Christ, no, look, we're not doing tit for tat.
Not David Patrick Kelly from The Crow.
No. Kieran Patrick Kelly. Check. There's a podcast called The Nobody Zone. If you can
It's a
access
good one.
if you can access the obviously go to the RTE website and look up The Nobody Zone. It's a fantastic podcast.
It
I
is.
hope.
I Marty turned me on to that, and it's fascinating, and it's kind of chilling that it was just sort of dumb luck as how he finally
Yeah,
confessed.
from 50, what was it? From 53, no, 50, 55, I think, to 83. He got away with so many fucking murders.
It's kind, and I'm sure there's some equivalent to an American at anywhere else. It's scary to think of how many people are walking out and forensics has gotten better, but I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that you would have never think of that are doing some horrific shit. People, the world is a fun place.
It's I think we all like to think we fucking wear our heart on our sleeve, but there's some people that fucking keep their dark heart in their back pocket.
I leave my vagina wide open for you.
I know. And
It has a welcome
this
mat.
is why Cara ejected herself from her own stream.
Yeah, I even bought a welcome mat for my vagina just for Marty.
It's got a picture. It's got a picture of a snake. It's got a picture of a snake and it says, "Don't tread on me." Isn't that like the Army Rangers? Or
it says "come in," only spelled CUM instead of COME.
Speaking of
Coming?
no, well, coming or going. Have we scared off poor Cara?
I was wondering that myself. I'm wondering if she's like, maybe they won't notice I'm leaving.
She's just step out on the back.
I think she messaged in the private chat going for some cigarettes.
You've invited two annoying guests to your house, and it gets to the stage where you have to flee your own fucking home because they're so bad.
Yeah. Here it is in the private chat, Marty. Going for cigarettes. Be right back, guys.
That's just like what my pappy said 15 years ago. They mustn't have had the brand he liked.
Oh, I love it when you talk all sophisticated, darling. Gone to watch Faces of Death 6. Maybe.
I'm just going to message
what
her.
What do we do, Marty? I've never been in this. This is a new not sexual, but I mean, I can make it sexual thing for me.
No, don't. It's Cara's stream. Cara's nice.
Okay, fine. What do we do in this situation, darling?
Well, actually, to anyone in the chat, what's your favorite extreme horror movie, or what's one that you were told that was going to be extreme and then turned out to be absolute fucking wank?
There's a lot of that. Speaking of serial killers, a lot of people think A.H.H. Holmes was Jack the Ripper. Do we?
That's
more on your side of the pond.
I don't know.
See, it ain't really a pond, it's an ocean.
Oh, I thought, was Holmes a Yank though? I thought H.H. Holmes was a Yank. Maybe I'm wrong.
Just because he was a Yank, I mean, don't be prejudiced, Marty.
No. I know. That fucking case went all over the place. They thought it was a bunch of fucking. They thought it was a vigilante mob who had problems with prostitutes.
Yeah.
They thought it was a Jew, kind of. So one.
No, it's just you do hit up on something kind of. I don't know if this will be interesting for the audience, but I think it's an interesting thought. It doesn't matter if it's today or way back then. One of the reasons why they think it was so hard for him to catch is because he did generally stick to prostitutes or women of a lower status and things.
Yeah.
People that they don't care about, and I find that interesting that it's still true today. That's how a lot of serial killers get away with it. They choose people that are kind of throwaway people, and nobody's ever a throwaway person. But for the terms of this discussion,
Dahmer got away with it.
I can't talk.
Dahmer got away with it because he preyed on the gay community and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
ethnic members of the gay community. Hey, dude, Temba Cinema, cool.
Thimble
Oh,
Simma.
okay. Let's see. Michael says Serbian one was a letdown with Extreme Wise, mostly because it's so overhyped. Was surprised how well it was made, though.
Yeah, I would agree. I agree with it's a wonderful movie, but it is overhyped. And that was a movie I believe it or not, Marty, when I first heard about it because it had such a reputation and as being a parent, I was like, do I want this shit in my head? And I didn't jump the gun to see it as soon as you might have thought I would. And then I thought to myself, I go, you know what? I claim to be a horror fan and I claim to be an extreme cinema lover. I need to put on my big girl fucking panties and watch this. And I like the fact that this movie, and I don't like what the movie's about or anything like that, but I like the fact that it was handled. It was much like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre situation where we think we see a lot more than we actually see with the
Yeah.
film. And that was smart filmmaking. And it's just a really good film. Like it's an engaging story. Hi, Cara.
Hello.
Sorry about that. My phone overheated.
No problem.
Your phone's probably like, are these people ever going to shut up?
No.
Just answering the next question. Honestly, I don't know. I think it was just some upstanding citizen who had some resentment for women and decided to go fucking slice and dice. I don't know, the whole fucking the royals, the whole from hell kind of thing about
Oh,
it being the
yeah.
royals. I think that's bullshit.
I
Again,
think it was Prince or King Charles now. I think King Charles did it.
Oh, Lordy.
he's not that old, Jen.
I know, like that was why it's funny.
He looks it.
Okay, then King Henry did it. King Henry the Eighth did it
He
because
was
he
dead.
hated women.
And that's not his MO. He cuts off their fucking heads.
Well, God, I'm just trying to be a little bit of a historian, and you're crushing all my theories.
To do a parody? I think it's Kentucky Fried Movie. Robert Stack introduces, "We finally found the killer, Jack the Ripper," and this English hooker, she's going down an alleyway and goes, "Hi, governor. You're looking very scaly tonight." It turned out it was the Loch Ness Monster, and it's the Loch Ness Monster in a top hat and a cloak. I fucking love that.
That is a good one. I like the movie Last House on the Left 2009. Have you seen the original? I like the. I know the original has some. Now that's an interesting movie because it is a movie that has issues. Not the original has a lot of issues and pacing and tone. It definitely, because sometimes
Oh
we get
yeah,
these
those
really,
two cops. You're like, oh my god, these girls are being violated. Hey, it's two goofy cops. What
in
the
a
fuck is
chicken
happening
truck.
here? It's fucking bizarre.
So you've seen, yeah, but I would say that I get a lot of people do prefer the 2009 one, but I still say the actor playing Krug in the original Last House on the Left. I mean, he's terrifying. His performance is just fucking David Hess, right?
David Hess, he's a brilliant actor. He's also a great musician.
Oh yeah, the music. He made the music for the film. That you didn't like that she didn't die in the remake. I get that. A lot of people felt that way. The original is bleak. You know, again, if you like your bleak movies, that's the one to. I mean, except for the chicken and the crazy chicken and crazy cop scene. Thank you, Michael Myers. I kind of feel the same way. Still, I think it packs a punch too, even with its issues. How do you feel? I don't think we've ever talked about this, Marty.
Again, there's a lot going for the Craven one, but it's just those fucking cops take me out of it. I'm really going, Jesus.
And you
Christ.
know who one of those cops were, don't you?
Yeah, Martin Cove, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he doesn't like to talk
in the
about it.
Karate Kid.
Yep.
Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, seriously. He doesn't particularly like to talk about it, but he is in it. And yeah, it's a fun little piece of trivia.
Hess wrote a song for Elvis. Jesus.
Mm-hmm. I heard about that. Dead by Dawn. I like that. Dead by Dawn.
Dead by Dawn.
Dead by Dawn.
Actually, guys, speaking of extreme movies, what did you think of Fied Alvarez's Evil Dead from 2013?
Ew. Is that extreme?
Yeah.
It has a lot of blood. I get what you mean, Cara. Like, again, it's everyone's definition of extreme, but like a lot of people thought it was very extreme.
A girl bisects her tongue and licks out another woman. Like, so. I don't know.
For me, honestly, especially because they kept flashing back to the book so much, that's what made me not enjoy the film as much.
Oh, okay.
And then when they finally do stop doing that, it's like by then I'm already like, well, you've been tattling the whole time. I mean, what eventually redeemed it for me was that blood shower scene at the end, but it's kind of like I had to wait till the very beginning just to get to that, to the ending. I mean,
I liked it. I've reappraised it. I think I like Rise maybe a wee bit better.
I really I didn't I it's not that I didn't like it. I've liked it, but I was a little bitter. You know this, Marty. I was a little bitter toward this film because I was like, those movies are so perfect. Let's not touch them. And then me and Marty did a stream and stuff, and Marty was talking about it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm being a little salty bitch, and so I went in and reevaluated, and I'm like, you know what? There is some really goddamn good stuff here, and I've become a fan. Like I know Alvarez didn't exactly hit the mark with Alien Romulus with some people, but I'm a fan of Alvarez's work, and I really like that he, again, in a way, this parallels to the Crow remake because I think he was very respectful to the original, but still managed to do his own thing.
His own thing, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what the best, as I've said many times this last 24 hours, that's what the best remakes do. Is they respectful, but they do their own thing.
John, I'm with Tempo Cinema. I've never seen a bad Evil Dead movie.
House at the Edge of the Park is a great exploitation film, and also with Hess. That's you could say it's even better than Last House on the Left in some aspects. The tree scene, the tree of rape. I love that. Some asshole. Remember, Marty? Didn't some asshole come on one of your Evil Dead streams dressed as
I remember that. I remember that.
I think Carol was on that stream as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Can't remember who did it, but I know someone on your panel, Marty. Asshole.
I don't know whoever it was. They needed their bush pruned. That's all I'm just gonna say. Okay.
Oh, do you have a pair of sharp shears, Mr. Green?
Oh God, I'm turning into you. Look, been hanging around you too long.
Yeah, you have. Ooh. But Marty, anytime you want to prune my bushes.
That 3, maybe 4. Jesus, 4? I think we're going on 4.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, I have. Hang on, let me check the etchings in the wall.
Oh, Lordy.
We've been together that long, darling?
I think so. It's all a haze. It's all a blur.
It's been a stretch, yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen House at the Edge of the Park, but I'm putting it on. It's a good one. And if you like David Hess, you'll really like this one. The House at the Edge. And sadly, that's one that doesn't get talked about as much as Last House on the Left. And House at the Edge of the Park is just as good. And in fact, some aspects better.
That one isn't the one with the torch scene, is it?
Yeah. You've seen it, right, Marty?
No.
Oh, you have. We might have to. How about we come back sometime and talk about House at the Edge of the Park?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it'll be one. I don't think they've ever done a remake.
No, but like as Carol was saying, is that the one with the torch?
Yeah, it has a scene.
Oh, okay, I've seen that one then.
Yeah.
Crispy
Also,
critter.
getting back to Last House on the Left, I fucking love when they're going blow your to his own fucking kid, blow your fucking brains out. Now that is a disturbing scene, or I find it to be.
Yeah, as a parent,
They're all on
some of
drugs,
that.
though.
Yeah, but still, blow, and the way he says it and the way he announces it and stuff, and I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, guys.
Yeah, Krug is just fucking downright evil. And like he's so evil, he reaches like the bit where he's like piss yourself, and he's threatening the girl to
Oh
piss
yeah,
herself,
and
and
then
then
makes her
after
feel embarrassed.
yeah, and then after they've assaulted the girl, they realize how heinous it is. They're the most heinous people ever, but they're so disgusted by their actions they can't look at each other, like trying to get the grass off their fingers and stuff.
Do you know? Because I did a solo review on this a long time ago, and one thing that I found very interesting is, as Wes Craven talked about this, is that after that whole scene, that the rape and the assault and everything, they cut for lunch, and like nobody talked to each other. No, I mean it was just so emotionally draining on the whole cast. They all
Okay.
just had to go off. I mean, it impacted them and they knew it was just a movie, but they were all kind of it fucked with their heads a bit,
Mm.
which I guess it
Yeah,
would to anybody.
I imagine so. Yeah, I mean that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. But I mean, that's always people always kind of give Last House on Left, and I get it. It has tonal issues for sure, but there is some really brutal.
There's there's some good stuff there. Again, I'm not going to shit in the movie. I watched An American Nightmare, which is a documentary about the pioneers of 70s and 80s horror, and Wes Craven said that movie was catharsis for him because again he was lucky enough not to be drafted, and he was
Mhm.
seeing all these images come back from Vietnam, and he was like, yeah, there was an angry young man in there, as he said.
Yeah, yeah, and you can see that coming through. Michael Myers, the also Weasel was really creepy too. He was a favorite. Yeah, I knew he was in the porn as well. And in fact, I might have seen some of his work in that.
He was embarrassed by on the documentary. There's a great documentary on the 2 disc Anchor Bay blue DVD. And he's
Yeah,
like, I can't believe I starred in that piece of shit. And then it cuts to David Hess going, what? That guy doesn't like this movie. He made his career fucking and sucking. I don't fucking take anything he says to heart.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with fucking and sucking. I mean, it's a respectable career.
It's one of the oldest careers.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. And I don't think it's one that's ever going to go out of business unless these kids decide to do it all digitally, which it's a damn shame.
That might be our screen stars in the future. Just AI.
Maybe.
There is going to be a crackdown though, because there's a lot of celebrities getting annoyed that, like, their faces are being put onto deep faked onto to different kind of videos and photos and stuff. Like I don't know who it was, but Billie Eilish got really annoyed that everyone kind of jumped to Taylor Swift's defense because her stuff was taken down immediately. And then there's these young up and coming pop stars that are having their faces put on these kind of stuff. And some of them are like 16, 17, and there's no fucking, where's the defense? Where's the lawyers? Where's the fucking prosecutors for them? It's kind of bullshit.
It's like anything else. There are certain people get ahead of the line, and it's not
Mm,
fair, but it's just the way it is.
yeah.
Well, to me, I don't know why they would, go after, help Swift out. It's like you said, especially when other people have to wait longer. But I don't know what the image was, but if it was something explicit, then I would say it's probably closer to the truth. She's a hoe.
Jesus.
Wow, we're
I
not mincing words here.
we did, I didn't know you had such a vehement dislike for Taylor Swift, Cara.
Well, she pretends to be, I hate the word wholesome. She pretends to be, but she's far from. I mean, she has a whole track record of guys that she's written songs about.
That
Yeah.
yeah, her entire the early part of her career is just made up of breakup songs. That's like
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's like there's proof right there. I'm like, you've been here, you've been there.
I don't like the fact that she's putting her music before because she has a nice bit of influence, but apparently she's been told not to support Kamala.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
apparently she's like, oh, I don't want to negatively affect my career. I suppose it's that they're worried it's the Dixie Chicks situation all over again.
Maybe, but the Dixie Chicks just said they were ashamed that Bush came from Texas, the same state they came from, so and stuff. But I don't see how supporting, unless the candidate's a Nazi or something, I don't see how supporting one candidate or another. I mean, you might alienate a few fans, and I guess if your bottom line is that important to you, but I don't see it being that big a deal.
I think some of the earlier kind of core parts of her kind of fan base. She started off doing country and western stuff, right? So I'd
She
say,
did.
and I'm not trying to fucking connect the two or make a sweeping generalization. Country music fans, MAGA supporters.
There's a little bit of a correlation,
Yeah,
perhaps.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. There is. There is. There is. Well, I mean, Jesus Christ, Marty, we just had last year. Try that in a small town, if you'll recall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can we go see Walker Hayes?
No!
But he done a song called Fancy Like Applebee's.
God damn it, Marty, really?
I really
And it's
like that
almost
song.
getting close to Christmas, and I know what you're going to be doing.
Oh, Jesus, it's your birthday. I love that song.
The worst thing they can ever do is tell us their political, it's basically alienates half your fan base. Yeah, yeah. And don't we have enough of that in, like, I mean, just because you're famous, do you really know anything about the geopolitical climate? Just because you can sing real pretty? And I'm not knocking, it's just, I mean,
It is fucking hilarious. I am totally against climate change and the depletion of the ozone layer. Now, you'll see you in my next concert when I board my huge jumbo jet that will travel halfway across. You're like, motherfucker, are you tone deaf?
yeah, it is a little bit tone deaf. But again, it's all about the bottom line. It really is. Like, I hopefully you're interested in my bottom line.
I want to. Jesus, at this stage.
Oh, just tell it like it is. You're bare bottom.
Yeah, well, that too.
Astastic.
Darling.
Cara, I am going to dust off and get something to eat.
Yeah, I haven't eaten all day either. I was up doing a review till 3 a.m. If I'm yawning, I'm having a blast on this stream. But if I'm yawning,
it's great crack. But you're going to start hearing sounds of my stomach through the mic if I don't get something into me. So.
And then that's going to turn me on, and then the viewers are going to go, "Oh God."
Only
not
my
extreme, I don't know what is.
Only my malnutrition could be fucking make you horny. It's bizarre.
Well, I mean, think about it. You'd be a little weaker, so you couldn't run from me either. I mean, what?
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Jesus. If you're a good boy, I'll give you a cookie.
What flavor?
Oops.
Fish sticks.
Oh. Oh.
How did I not see that one coming?
I will. I fucking will, Cara. I'm got a face full of it.
I think that's a good place to end it on, guys. I don't know what we could top that.
Oh, does anybody last minute have anything they want to promote? As is customary here.
Jen, anything you want to plug?
You.
Again, The minute it comes out my mouth, I'm like, shit.
abort. Yeah, I just put up my thoughts. It's not a review, as I say in the video. This isn't really a review. This is just my thoughts and initial reactions to the new Crow movie. It just dropped this today. I'd appreciate it if you guys would check it out again. And I will. And there's something else. Oh yeah, Sunday night I will be on with this handsome gentleman, and we're going to be talking about Crow, and we're going to be talking about King of the Hill, and probably some sexual things as well, because it's me.
And I'll actually have a link to join us in the actual stream as
You
well.
sure do have a link, my darling. You sure do.
Right. I can't. It's like that episode of The Kid of the Hill where everyone's afraid to say anything because of the employee who uses innuendo. Yeah, no. Anyone who wants to jump in, drop in. Anyone who wants to enter, no. If you want to be on the stream, the link will be in the chat. Damn you for making me have to double check that some words aren't fucking dirtier than others.
I love it when you forget and then it dawns on you just as it's coming out of your mouth. That's my favorite.
Hi.
Join us. Yes, and please join us. And Kara, you're welcome to join us too if you'd like.
Yeah, we had a blast being on. We probably gave the poor woman a migraine.
Yeah, I know. I mean, but that's nothing new. I mean, pretty much all of our friends say that. What about you, Car? Do you have anything on your channel or anything you want to promote?
I'm coming back tomorrow to do a watch along for The Kiss, and I'm actually wanting to use the Joe Bob version since he had played it on Monster Vision back in the day.
That is such an awesome. The Kiss is such a fucking phenomenal movie. I love that movie. It has a little incest in it, darling.
Yeah.
It's just sister incest. It's not daddy or daughter or anything. It's not. It's just pretty mild. It's just sister incest. Niece and aunt.
Jesus Christ Almighty.
Well, then it doesn't really count because they can't procreate. So
Yeah. So they won't have a mutant baby like in Flowers in the Attic. Not that they had a mutant baby, but there was always that possibility looming over, like, are they gonna have a kid with 3 feet or something? I don't know.
Again, you're not giving that book to my 11-year-old niece. It is not a
But
good...
you said she's a reader, Marty.
Yeah, no.
It shaped me. Those books shaped me to the person I am today.
Yeah. That's...
Imagine some Irish lad somewhere in Ireland right now meets your niece, and I mold her, and she reads the books, and he comes and shakes your hand, and it's like your niece is it could be good. They'd be like, wow, if you hadn't married that American woman.
Jesus Christ.
I was a little younger when I read them.
God damn it, Jen. Hi.
I'm hungry, darling. I need food, or I might start saying inappropriate things.
Alrighty. Well, I mean, I know you're both hungry. I'll go ahead and end it here. We've been going on 3 hours.
Thank you again for having us. You were so gracious and kind to have us on and let us, talk.
Yeah, I know. It was cool handing out, shooting the shit, and you're like, okay, this isn't the topic, but fuck it, we'll keep rolling.
I love the comment from Michael Myers, just mild incest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Jen, considering you're a connoisseur, before we go, Nanette is wondering.
No, darling, no.
You guys are just too much fun, though.
Thank you. What were you
I'll
going to
definitely have you back.
Hotel New Hampshire. You ever seen a movie like that?
Never heard of it. If
no, I don't think I have.
I've never heard of it.
Michael Myers says this is longer than Braveheart. This stream has been longer than Braveheart.
It's probably more historically accurate. I'll fucking give it that.
But it hasn't been longer than the Titanic.
Yeah. One day we will. Me and Marty are going to get on that raft. Whee! Or that
Sorry, Jen.
board
There's
or whatever
just
it was.
there's just not enough space on this wardrobe.
Oh god.
It's just for me and my blankets.
I've seen that meme with the cats where the cat scratches him to get him away.
Hmm. Okay.
Well, thank you guys. This was a lot of fun, and I hope to do it again really soon. And
Yeah, no,
again,
it was
Carva,
awesome.
please come over to our channel tomorrow night if you're not too busy or not talking about sister incest.
Sister cest.
That's a word. Sister cest.
It's a good word, but it's no Crocella.
Tune in tomorrow to figure out what Marty's talking about.
Ew. I might have to.
Okay.
Alrighty, so I'll go ahead and end it here. I'm sure I'm starting to feel a little bit hungry myself. We've been on for close to 3 hours, but thank you so much for stopping by and for everyone in the chat. It was definitely a fun time.
Thank you. Remember, guys, it's okay as long as it's mild incest.
I'm sorry, Kara. I can't take her anywhere.
So, as usual, that is all we have for you guys for today, and we will talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Remember, mild incest is okay.
Slán